Chapter 847. Tang Ao's soul power instantly swept out in all directions, and everything around him became incomparably clear under Tang Ao's soul power perception. Tang Ao noticed that there were a total of 11 demonic beasts called shadow beasts. Among these 11 shadow beasts, those below the third level of the body refining realm had stone. One of them was slightly larger, and compared to the other shadow beasts, it had 2 golden stripes on its body, while the others only had 1. This shadow beast with 2 golden stripes was also the strongest. Under Tang Ao's perception, this shadow beast's strength had reached the 5th level of the body refining realm. In addition, Tang Ao also saw a familiar demonic beast. This demonic beast was called the copper gong pig, and it was a type of plant-eating demonic beast with delicious meat. Sure enough, a rather large copper gong pig ran towards Tang Ao's position, and the 11 shadow beasts were chasing it relentlessly. Seeing Tang Ao and the others, the copper gong pig roared angrily, as if it wanted to smash Tang Ao and the others into pieces. It rushed over at an even faster speed. Under such an impact, if it was an ordinary martial artist below the 3rd level of the body refining realm, they would definitely not be able to withstand such a violent collision. However, Tang Ao's physical body was already at the strength of a life and death realm martial artist, and Tang Ao was not prepared to use his physical body to withstand such a violent collision. After all, Tang Ao's injuries had not fully recovered. Tang Ao took a step forward, and at the same time, his body flashed with a golden light. The battle sage bone life soul instantly attached to his body. Although his spiritual sea was shattered, Tang Ao's soul sea could still be used. Purring! Tang Ao blasted out a punch, sending the copper gong pig flying. Bing Xian came back to her senses at this time. After seeing more than 10 shadow beasts not far away, she hurriedly pulled Tang Ao. Big brother Tang Ao, let's run. That's a level 2 shadow beast, and it's very powerful. Tang Ao nodded, picked up the causeway pig that he had killed, and then picked up Bing Xian, running towards the lonely peak not far away. The shadow beasts were still in hot pursuit, but even though they were fast, they were still slower than Tang Ao. If Tang Ao was willing, he could kill all these shadow beasts after summoning the battle sage bone life soul. However, that would consume too much of Tang Ao's soul power. At this moment, Tang Ao's soul sea hadn't fully recovered yet. Tang Ao's soul power was constantly flowing away. Even with the jade bone life soul, the replenishment of Tang Ao's soul power was only just enough to balance out the soul power he was losing. When Tang Ao didn't use his soul power, it could slowly condense some soul power for Tang Ao. However, once Tang Ao summoned his life soul to fight, the speed at which the Jade Bone Vitality Life Soul condensed soul power couldn't keep up with Tang Ao's expenditure. Furthermore, without the support of spiritual power, the might of Tang Ao's life soul was limited. Not long after, Tang Ao arrived at the mountainside, and the shadow beasts had only reached the foot of the mountain. After Tang Ao ran to the mountainside, he put Bing Xian down. Xianer, let this lesser demon fly you up. There's no need, big brother Tang Ao. After Bing Xian said that, she shouted at the top of the mountain, Uncle Black, I'm back. Quickly lower the rope ladder. Sorry. I fell asleep just now. After Bing Xian shouted, a voice came from the mountaintop. Following that, 2 hanging baskets were lowered from the mountaintop. Tang Ao placed the causeway pig he had just killed in one basket, while he carried Bing Xian to the other basket. After Tang Ao and Bing Xian were done, the hanging baskets immediately rose to the mountaintop. Chapter 848. Tang Ao looked in the direction of the flame and saw a small fire dragon. This little fire dragon wasn't a true fire dragon, but a young fire dragon. The flame just now was spat out by this fire dragon. After it spat out the flame, it flapped its wings and flew towards Bing Xian and Tang Ao. Hicks! Bing Xian called out happily when she saw the fire dragon. I knew it was you. The fire dragon called Hicks had already arrived in front of Bing Xian. Bing Xian stretched out her little hand and gently stroked Hicks' head. Tang Ao's gaze also began to size up this young fire dragon with great interest. Tang Ao had seen many dragons, but this was the first time Tang Ao had seen a fire dragon. Brother Tang Ao, this is Hicks. I hatched him from a dragon egg I picked up when I was young. But he's still young and can't speak yet. Bing Xian introduced Hicks to Tang Ao. Hicks rubbed his little head against Bing Xian's body. Oh right, Hicks likes to sleep. He sleeps most of the time. The small fire dragon seemed to know that Bing Xian was speaking ill of it and immediately showed a trace of displeasure. Tang Ao didn't think that the young fire dragon would be so intelligent. He immediately stretched out his hand to touch the fire dragon. However, Hicks was a little wary of a stranger like Tang Ao. He flapped his wings and moved away from Tang Ao. Tang Ao smiled awkwardly and retracted his hand. There was a distance of nearly 300 feet from the mountainside to the landing platform. Not long after, Tang Ao and Bing Xian were brought to the platform. He Yen looked at Tang Ao vigilantly. Which tribe are you from? Why haven't I seen you before? Although Tang Ao didn't have the slightest bit of mystical energy, He Yen was still a little wary. He was in charge of guarding the mountain road into the tribe. This was his duty. I'm not from the ice and snow plain. I was chased by my enemies and came here by mistake. After Tang Ao finished speaking, He Yen looked at an old man beside him. The old man nodded his head. He didn't lie. Let's go. After the old man finished speaking, he said to Bing Xian, Did you guys hunt this copper gong pig? When Bing Xian heard the old man's words, she revealed her canine teeth and smiled. This was hunted by Brother Tang Ao. Bing Xian then said to Tang Ao, Brother Tang Ao, the food in the tribe is a bit tight now. Can we share this causeway pig? Of course. The copper boar was only a level 2 monster beast. As long as Tang Ao could use a little bit of his spiritual power, it could be said that he could have as many as he wanted. However, the heaven and earth elemental energy in the winter plains was thin. In such a place, Tang Ao didn't know when he would recover from his injuries. If he could not recover from his injuries after staying here for a while, Tang Ao could only leave this place. Little Bing Xian, how can we take a guess things? A gentle and sweet-sounding voice could be heard. Following which, Tang Ao saw a graceful and beautiful woman walking over. When Bing Xian saw this woman, she happily ran over and hugged the woman. Sister Mu you're back. This is Brother Tang Ao. Such a big copper gong pig, Brother Tang Ao can't finish it. Right now, there's no food in the tribe. We can borrow some meat from Brother Tang Ao. Chapter 849. Tang Ao noticed that although there were a lot of people in this tribe, most of them did not have high cultivation. More than half of them were at the body refining realm, and only a few of them had reached the origin martial realm. He Yen, who had just questioned Tang Ao, was one of them. As for Sea of Souls realm warriors, there was only one in the entire tribe. Not only was he injured, he was only at the first level of the Sea of Souls realm. Brother Tang Ao, let me take you around the tribe. As Tang Ao was using his soul power to scan the surroundings, Bing Xian's voice came over. Okay, but let's eat the meat first. The natural spirit chi in the dark ice plane was too thin, and Tang Ao's spirit chi was already broken. Right now, the spirit power Tang Ao absorbed through his meridians was not enough to sustain his consumption. Therefore, he could only recover his strength through food like normal people. Great! Brother Tang Ao, you are willing to lend us the gong pork? I will go tell the chief grandpa. The tribe Bing Xian was in was called the Snow Feather Tribe. The entire tribe was built on top of a huge mountain. Along the way, Tang Ao used his soul power to scan the surroundings. Under Tang Ao's perception, there were at least 1,000 people in the Snow Feather Tribe. Although the gong pig that Tang Ao had killed before was not small, if 1,000 people ate it, each person would only be able to drink one mouthful of soup. However, Tang Ao was a bit confused. Although these people came from the same place, there were three distinct groups of people. The people that lived in the area where Bing Xin was at had the lowest cultivation, and the number of people was the least, less than 200. The remaining two areas each had more than 400 people. Although Tang Ao did not find any Sea of Souls realm warriors, there were peak-level origin martial realm warriors in the other two groups. Bing Xin, how come the people in your tribe do not seem to get along? Bing Xin was very innocent, so Tang Ao did not avoid it and directly asked this question. Because although we are in the same tribe, we are not from the same tribe. This land originally belonged to our Snow Feather tribe, while the other two groups were defeated tribes. The chief kindly took them in, but after the chief's grandfather was injured, these two tribes weren't very friendly to our Snow Feather tribe. Tang Ao came to a realization. So it turned out that this Snow Feather tribe had encountered an ingrate. Tang Ao's soul power continued to sweep unscrupulously. Although Tang Ao's soul sea had not recovered, how could these people compare to the strength of Tang Ao's soul power? Even if Tang Ao used his soul power to scan the surroundings without the slightest scruple, no one could sense Tang Ao's soul power. Suddenly, Tang Ao's eyes narrowed. That was because Tang Ao's soul power could sense that a huge crack had appeared on this mountain. If it was a normal day, this crack wouldn't be a big deal. However, once a fierce battle broke out on the top of the mountain, it wouldn't be a big deal. This place would probably collapse into ruins. Yo! The little girl from Snow Feather is quite capable. She actually hunted such a big copper boar. Share some of its meat with me. A bald man saw Tang Ao carrying the copper boar behind Bing Xin and fiercely looked at the copper boar in Tang Ao's hand. No, this copper boar was hunted by Big Brother Tang Ao. You can't steal it. Our tribe is almost out of food. Bing Xin saw the bald man walk over, and her small body immediately opened her arms to block Tang Ao behind her. Chapter 850. However, Tang Ao did not do so, because Tang Ao noticed that there were still some people rushing towards this place. These people came from three different directions, and they were obviously the people of the three tribes in the Snow Feather tribe. Although they had integrated into the tribe when the leader of the Snow Feather tribe took them in, now that the leader of the Snow Feather tribe was injured, these people started to rebel. The long blade in Gu Luo's hand flashed, and he slashed 3 times on the copper gong pig that Tang Ao was carrying. He was very fast, but under Tang Ao's soul power perception, Gu Luo's movements were still very clear. However, Tang Ao did not stop him. Tang Ao also wanted to see what this Gu Luo wanted to do. Gu Luo suddenly appeared here, and it seemed that he did not just want the copper gong pig. After 3 slashes, the copper gong pig was cut into 3 pieces, and Tang Ao casually threw the pig to the side. Gu Luo, what are you doing? Bing Xin looked at Gu Luo a bit angrily. Although Gu Luo was not friendly to them normally, Bing Xin still thought of him as a member of the tribe. However, Gu Luo's current behavior made Bing Xin a bit scared. Tang Ao's soul power did not detect wrongly. Soon, 3 groups of people arrived. Even the first-level Sea of Souls realm elder that Tang Ao had noticed was here. Yeah! Suddenly, Tang Ao discovered another powerful aura. Moreover, the owner of this aura was even more powerful than that elder. Although the spirit power vibration on his body was a bit powerful, as if he had just broken through to the 3rd level of the Sea of Souls realm. But without a doubt, this person was indeed the most powerful warrior that Tang Ao had seen since he came here. Grandpa Leader! Bing Xin ran over happily after seeing the white-bearded elder. Grandpa Leader, Gu Luo wants to steal the copper gong pig that Brother Tang Ao killed. Hee, Ice Howl old man, you are getting old. It is better for you to be a vegetarian. This copper gong pig, our bone erosion tribe will gladly accept it. If the ice howl had been at its peak, Gullo would not have dared to behave atrociously. However, now that the ice howl old man had been injured by a Class 8 shadow beast, there was no need for him to be so polite. Moreover, the previous chief of the eroded bone tribe, Wu Tu-gu, was still alive and had returned to the tribe. Therefore, Ice Howl Old Man was naturally worthless. Bing Xiao was only at the first level of the Seas of Soul's realm, while their leader Wu Tu-gu was at the third level. Although he wouldn't be able to kill a Class 8 shadow beast, at least he wouldn't end up as miserable as the Ice Howl Old Man, Gu Luo. How dare you speak to the old man like this? Have you forgotten that 3 years ago you were like stray dogs, and it was the old man who kindly took you in? Hei Yen, who had pulled Tang Ao up from the waist of the mountain not long ago, pointed at Gu Luo and berated him. Ice Howl waved his hand. If you have anything to say, just say it. You've made such a big fuss over a copper pig? Then this copper gong pig is too rare. Tang Ao nodded. Being able to become the chief of a tribe, Ice Howl was naturally not a normal person. Although the warrior of the eroded bone tribe at the third level of the Seas of Soul's realm had not shown up yet, he had also sensed that something was wrong. Chapter 851. Bing Xiao glanced at Tang Ao, then said to Bing Xian, "We, the Snow Feather tribe, have always been a hospitable tribe. However, I am afraid that we will not be able to host you well this time. You take Tang Ao to our camp to rest first." But, Leader Grandpa, Bing Xian seemed to want to say something. However, Bing Xiao smiled at Bing Xian. "Don't worry. With Leader Grandpa here, everything will be fine." As he spoke, he waved his hand at Bing Xian without a care in the world. Tang Ao knew that the old man was just trying to act tough. Even if that third-level Sea of Soul's realm warrior did not come out, the 2-peak level 9 Yuan martial realm warriors would be enough to take care of the Ice Howl. However, Bing Zhao's words had obviously eased the nervous expressions of the people in the Snow Feather tribe. Everyone seemed to have a blind trust in this old leader. Tang Ao had a good impression of Bing Xiao, so he only retreated to the back of the crowd with Bing Xian. Tang Ao planned to use his Green Lotus Sword Spirit to sneak an attack on him if that Sea of Soul's realm warrior attacked Bing Xiao. As long as he could kill this guy, the Snow Feather tribe would still have a chance of winning. "Chief Bing Xiao, I am very grateful that you took care of my people 3 years ago and during the time when I was missing. But we are also a big tribe with thousands of years of history. Therefore, we have decided not to merge with the Snow Feather tribe anymore." At the back of the crowd, Wu Tu-gu released his powerful qi, but his tone was very calm. "I understand now. You are back, Wu Tu-gu." Bing Zhao's eyes focused on Wu Tu-gu. Wu Tu-gu was already a Sea of Soul's realm warrior 3 years ago. After he disappeared 3 years ago, a lot of people thought that he was dead. They did not expect that not only was he still alive, but he had also become a Sea of Soul's realm warrior after he came back. "XNR, who is this person?" Tang Ao noticed that after this person appeared, fear flashed in the eyes of Bing Xian and many members of the Snow Feather tribe. Even Bing Zhao's eyes were filled with caution. "He is the chief of the corrupt bone tribe, Wu Tu-gu. I heard that he often eats raw demonic beasts and poisonous snake. Anyone who fights with him will be torn in half by him." Bing Xian hugged Tang Ao's waist in fear as she spoke. Even her small body was a little scared. "Patriarch Bing Xiao, this Snow Feather Peak is a good place, but there are too many people here. The spirit grains planted on the Snowy Feather Peak were simply not enough to feed so many people. That's why even though the shadow beasts are rampaging, we still have to take the risk of going down the mountain to hunt demonic beasts and replenish our food supply. For the good of all of us, your Snow Feather tribe and Flying Fox tribe should leave." When Tang Ao heard this, his eyes narrowed. This Wu Tu-gu was relying on his powerful cultivation to steal the limelight. Wu Tu-gu's words caused many members of the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe to grit their teeth. The chief of the Flying Fox tribe, Silver Fox, glanced at Wu Tu-gu and coldly said, "My Flying Fox tribe is willing to leave the Snow Feather Peak. Farewell." Tang Ao hadn't expected that the chief of the Flying Fox tribe would be a young woman with a graceful figure. Even though Tang Ao had seen many beauties, Tang Ao couldn't help but praise that Silver Fox was truly beautiful. Brother Tang Ao, sister Silver Fox may look cold, but she is very kind. Furthermore, Silver Fox has always advocated for the Flying Fox tribe and the Snow Feather tribe to live in harmony and defend against external enemies. Bing Xian whispered to Tang Ao, "Haha, Silver Fox tribe's people can leave at any time, but you have to stay and leave behind outstanding descendants for me, Wu Tu-gu, and for our corrupt Bone tribe." Chapter 852. When clan leader Yin-Hu heard Wu Tu-gu's unreasonable request, she suddenly smiled coldly and said, "Is that so? No problem." Clan leader Yin-Hu walked towards Wu Tu-gu as she released her aura. Although she was only at the peak of Origin Martial Realm level 9, her aura was already extremely close to the first level of Sea of Souls realm. As a Life and Death realm warrior, Tang Ao naturally knew the gap between Origin Martial Realm warriors and Sea of Souls realm warriors. Plus, Wu Tu-gu was at the third level of Sea of Souls realm. Even if the Silver Fox was at the first level, she would not be his opponent. Seeing that the Silver Fox was about to attack, the warriors of the Flying Fox tribe followed her closely. Although they were not Wu Tu-gu's match, they were not afraid of fighting to the death. "Silver Fox girl, come back." When the Silver Fox was halfway there, the Ice Howl yelled at her, "Since the tribe likes this place, let's leave." Hearing him, the Silver Fox stopped as well. She was grateful and respectful to the leader of the Ice Howl tribe. Therefore, right then, she looked at the Ice Howl with confusion. The shadow beasts were very active at the bottom of the mountain. If they left the Snow Feather Mountain, they would be in great danger. "Hee, leader of the Ice Howl tribe, you are indeed sensible. But..." This time, the Ice Howl interrupted him. "All members of the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe have to leave. Otherwise, we will have to fight. I don't think you want to see a tribe with only one person left." Tang Ao thought to himself, "This old man is so bold." But it was also the truth. If the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe worked together, it would not be impossible for them to kill Wu Tu-gu alone. Plus, this would make Wu Tu-gu afraid, and he would not attack the two tribes easily. "Old man Ice Howl, you are still so arrogant. But, considering that you have helped my tribe for the past 3 years, I will let you go this time. You guys, please." Wu Tu-gu pointed at the bottom of the mountain, his words clear. "Snow Feather tribe and Flying Fox tribe, listen to my command. All the old, weak, women, and children go down to the middle of the mountain. Those who can fight will be the last to leave." Ice Howl had its reasons for doing so. If Woodigus suddenly changed his mind, then apart from those who left first, everyone else would die here. Although they were unwilling, the people of the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe still retreated in an orderly manner. Tang Ao didn't move, and Bing Xian was already by Tang Ao's side, as if she didn't want to leave. "Xian, he said that shadow beasts were wreaking havoc at the foot of the mountain. Are there any relatively safe places at the foot of the mountain? When we go down later, it will be easier to set up camp." Bing Xian shook her head. "Big brother Tang Ao, the dangerous areas of the ice and snow plains are occupied by powerful tribes. Without the protection of the Snow Feather Peak, we won't be able to find a suitable place to live. If that's the case, doesn't that mean that after we go down the mountain, no matter where we set up camp, it will be equally dangerous?" Tang Ao voiced out the doubts in his heart. "That's not the case. There are some poisonous swamps shrouded in poisonous fog. If you can resist the poisonous gas, it's still a very safe place. However, the poisonous gas is very powerful. Even Grandpa Patriarch can't move around in that place for a long time. Chapter 853. However, Tang Ao didn't know if there was a suitable place to set up camp in the poison swamp. Xian Air, let's go to the poison swamp to take a look. Maybe we can find a suitable place to set up camp? Tang Ao smiled at Bing Xian. Bing Xian glanced at the retreating crowd and nodded. But brother Tang Ao, we can only watch from the outside for a while. You have to come back quickly and meet up with everyone. I know, let's go. After Tang Ao finished speaking, he carried Bing Xian and walked towards a hanging basket. At this moment, there were more than 10 hanging baskets continuously transporting people from the top of the mountain to the waist. Tang Ao and Bing Xian didn't have to wait long before they were lowered down by a hanging basket. When Bing Xian reached the waist of the mountain, she summoned Yu, and that small fire dragon also flew to her side. Bing Xian reached out her hand to pat the heads of the two and said, Yu, Shix, we have to leave this place. Right now, I want to go to the poison swamp with brother Tang Ao to see if there's a suitable place to live. Can you guys wait for me with everyone else? Xian Air, the poison swamp is too dangerous. Don't go. How can there be a suitable place to live in a place like the poison swamp? It's safer for you to stay with everyone, Yu immediately advised. Shix also shook his head. Clearly, he didn't want Bing Xian to go there. It's fine. Brother Tang Ao and I will just look from the outside. We'll be back soon. Under Bing Xian's lead, Tang Ao soon arrived at the place called the Gloomy Poison Swamp. Tang Ao shrouded the poison swamp with his soul power and immediately encountered a resistance. Although this resistance couldn't stop Tang Ao's soul power, Tang Ao knew that the soul power of a Sea of Souls realm martial artist wouldn't be able to penetrate this poison mist barrier. After his soul power penetrated the poison mist barrier, Tang Ao started to search for a suitable place in the poison swamp. But under Tang Ao's soul power's scanning, the poison swamp was almost all soft mud. Moreover, there were many powerful poisonous creatures hidden in the mud. Tang Ao continued to expand the range of his soul power, but he still couldn't find a suitable place. Even if Tang Ao could set up a defensive formation, he still needed a flat and solid ground. Otherwise, the people of the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe would not be able to survive. Just as Tang Ao's soul power continued to explore, Tang Ao finally discovered an extremely spacious area. It was just that it was a long distance away from the edge of the swamp, and it would be a problem to get there from here. Just as Tang Ao was thinking about how to get there, Tang Ao suddenly smacked his head. He could not use spiritual power, but in the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe there were quite a few Origin Realm martial artists. As long as he set up a defense array on the Class 4 spirit boat, he would be able to let these people use the spirit boat to enter that place. Xian, there's a place inside where you can survive. I'll bring you in to have a look. Really? Brother Tang Ao, you're so awesome. Bing Xian didn't doubt Tang Ao's words at all. She looked at Tang Ao with her big eyes full of expectation. A golden light flashed on Tang Ao's body, and the Battle Sage Bone Life Spirit was summoned by Tang Ao again. After using the Battle Sage Bone Life Spirit, Tang Ao's face turned pale. Even if he could summon his Life Spirit now, with his Sea of Soul broken, using the Life Spirit would be a huge burden on Tang Ao. The Battle Sage Bone Life Spirit's golden light completely wrapped Tang Ao and Bing Xian. Chapter 854. Brother Tang Ao, you're so powerful. Bing Xian looked at the poisonous mist that was isolated outside of this space in surprise. Bing Xian didn't know what method Tang Ao had used to isolate the poisonous fog, but she knew that this space was definitely better than the Snow Feather Peak. Due to the concealment of the poisonous fog, whether it was the shadow beasts or other monsters, none of them were able to enter this space. However, there were some drawbacks. It was very inconvenient to travel. Because the island was surrounded by poisonous fog, only Tang Ao could leave at any time. This meant that if Tang Ao wasn't around, they wouldn't be able to leave. Brother Tang Ao, this place is pretty good, but there's no food and it's inconvenient to hunt outside. Tang Ao had already thought of this problem. Tang Ao still had to think of a way to recover from his injuries, so he naturally couldn't guard the exit and use the battle sage bone life soul to bring people from the snow feather and flying fox tribes in and out. Otherwise, with more than 600 people from the two tribes, Tang Ao wouldn't have to do anything other than bring people in and out. The array on this spirit boat can isolate the poisonous fog. You can use this spirit boat at any time. As Tang Ao spoke, he took out a spirit boat from his storage ring. This was a 5th-grade spirit boat that Tang Ao had refined a long time ago. Now that Tang Ao had added an array formation to the spirit artifact airship to isolate the poison mist, this spirit artifact airship would allow people to travel freely. On the other side, halfway up the Snow Feather Peak, although all the people from the Snow Feather and Flying Fox tribes had successfully evacuated. However, the people from both tribes were in low spirit. Although the gloomy ice plains were huge, there was no place for them to stay. Although the gloomy ice plains were called plains, it was basically filled with poisonous lake. There was no way to survive. Only the crisscrossing mountain ranges had some dangerous places that could be defended and struggled to survive. Chief Icehowl, where are we going next? Silver Fox was very respectful to Chief Icehowl. Although Silver Fox was also a chief, she knew that it was Chief Icehowl who had helped them during the Flying Fox tribe's most difficult time. Chief Icehowl and the Snow Feather tribe were very grateful to the Flying Fox tribe. Where did Bing Xian go? Icehowl didn't answer Silver Fox's question. Instead, he asked about Bing Xian's whereabouts. As a member of the Icehowl clan, their first concern was the safety of their clansmen, and then their survival. Although the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe had lost the protection of the Snow Feather Peak, the Icehowl tribe knew that it was not impossible to survive. Grandpa Patriarch, I'm here. Bing Xian was very happy that she had found a place for everyone to live in. Now, everyone in the tribe was most worried about how to survive in the winter plain. Now that Tang Ao had solved this problem, everyone must be very happy. Seeing the smile on Bing Xian's little face, Bing Zhao's chiseled face also showed a kind smile. Then he stood on a huge rock and said loudly, "Our ancestors were not born on Snow Feather Peak. Our ancestors were not even as strong as we are now, but they still relied on their unity and wisdom, as well as their respect for each other to survive in the dark ice plain. Although we have lost the Snowy Feather Peak, as long as we work together, we can still survive in the dangerous gloomy snow plain." Chapter 855. Grandpa Chief, Brother Tang Ao found a place suitable for us to live in the gloomy poison swamp. I'll take everyone there to have a look. Bing Xian looked at everyone with her big watery eyes, and said very innocently, "Bing Xian girl, the gloomy poison swamp is enveloped by poisonous fog all year round. Even if a place is not covered by poisonous fog for a while, we cannot go there to live. From what I see, we should all go to the northern desert forest. There are ancient trees that reach the sky, and we can build our houses on those trees." The one who spoke was He Yen. Although He Yen often had a sleepy appearance, Tang Ao knew that He Yen was definitely the second strongest person in the tribe. He was at the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Realm, and even had the cultivation of half a step into the Sea of Souls realm. Uncle He Yen, the place that Brother Tang Ao found is also a very good place. Bing Xian knew about the northern desert forest that He Yen spoke of, but in her opinion, the northern desert forest was not as safe as the island that Tang Ao found. Haha Xian how about this? Let's all go live in the northern desert forest for a while. If we are not used to it, then we can go to the place that Brother Tang Ao found. What do you think? Although He Yen said that, he was only comforting Bing Xian. He didn't want to disappoint her. He Yen had been to the gloomy poison swamp more than once. The gloomy poison swamp was filled with danger, but it also hid many treasures. However, the danger of the gloomy poison swamp was not something normal people could imagine. Other than the poisonous fog that enveloped it all year round, there were also many poisonous insects and poisonous beasts that were extremely powerful. Even if it was him, he had to be 120% careful in that place. 2/3 of the people in the tribe were martial artists below the origin realm. If they went to that place, it was likely that not even a single day would be enough for everyone in the tribe to die. Bing Xian's thoughts were pure, so she did not know He Yan's true thoughts. However, Tang Ao knew that He Yan's words were just to comfort Bing Xian. Tang Ao had a very good impression of the people in the Snow Feather tribe, especially Bing Xian. Thus, Tang Ao opened his mouth and said, "The place that I found has a natural concealing formation. I know a bit about formations, so I can control the opening and closing of the formation. That array keeps out the poisonous fog, poisonous insects, and poisonous beasts, so it should be suitable for everyone to live in." After Tang Ao finished speaking, He Yen immediately revealed a pondering expression. Many people were overjoyed after hearing this. Although not everyone had been to the gloomy poison swamp, there were still many people who knew about it. Legend had it that the gloomy poisonous swamp was shrouded in poisonous fog all year round. Other than the venomous insects and beasts that already existed in the swamp, all other creatures that entered would definitely die. Even the strange shadow beasts were unable to approach that area. In the gloomy snowy plain, the most dangerous thing was the shadow beast. However, after going there, the threat of the shadow beasts would be eliminated. It could be said that if they could survive in the gloomy poisonous swamp, it would be a blessing for the tribes of the gloomy icy plains. Patriarch, in that case Brother Tang Ao and I will go take a look at that place. If it's really suitable, I'll come back and bring everyone over, He Yen said to Ice Howl after thinking for a moment. Ice Howl glanced at Tang Ao, then smiled at Bing Xian. "No, I believe in Xian air. In that case, let's all set off for the gloomy poison swamp." Patriarch, isn't this a little too rash? Silver Fox asked Ice Howl with some doubt. After all, the icy plains was full of danger. It was still all right during the day, but once night fell, danger would descend. Chapter 856. Brother Tang Ao, what's with the array you mentioned just now? Xian air doesn't seem to understand. Bing Xian held Tang Ao's hand and tilted her head as she asked. Her appearance was so cute that people couldn't help but want to hug her. Xian air, is there no array inheritance in the ice and snow plain? Through the conversation with Bing Xian on the road, Tang Ao had some understanding of the dark ice and snow plain. Because the spirit chi of the world was thin, the warriors here had low cultivation. In this place, the strongest warriors were only at the peak of the Sea of Souls realm. There were no warriors at the life and death realm. At the same time, Tang Ao also knew that in this place, there were also elixirs and spirit tools, but the grade of the spirit tools here was too low. As for divine weapons, they had never appeared. Since elixirs and spirit tools had appeared, Tang Ao speculated that there must be an array inheritance here. Because, in a sense, the inscription array used by the refiners was also a special kind of array. Xian air doesn't know. Xian air shook her head. Although she knew a lot of things, she was still a child, so there were many things she didn't know. There used to be a lot of spirit array masters in the ice and snow plain, but for some reason, 16 years ago, the people who were proficient in array disappeared one after another. He Yen was walking behind Tang Ao and Bing Xian, so he heard their conversation about Tang Ao. He Yen stroked his beard and pondered for a while before continuing, Because array masters have an important position in the tribes, when the array masters went missing one after another, the tribes sent out experts to investigate. However, in the end, they only found traces of array masters in the ice-snow canyon. Other than that, they found nothing. It had been too long. Although it was a sensational event at the time, Hei Yen only remembered this much. So it's like this. So the array inheritance in the ice and snow plane has been broken for 16 years, and now there are no powerful array masters in the ice and snow plane? Tang Ao picked up Bing Xian and casually chatted with Hei Yen. In theory, yes, but there are no absolute. There is an exceptionally powerful tribe in the ice and snow plane called the Heavenly Wolf tribe. Although some of the Heavenly Wolf tribe's array masters had gone missing in the past, the Heavenly Wolf tribe's array formation heritage had never been lost. Whether it's formations, refining weapons, or alchemy, the Winterfrost Plain is the best among all the tribes. Hei Yen drank a mouthful of wine and continued, in our Snow Feather tribe, because of the old man, a spirit sea realm warrior, our Snow Feather tribe can be considered a mid-rank tribe. The strongest person in Sister Silver Fox's Flying Fox tribe is Sister Silver Fox. She is in existence at the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Realm. So, the Flying Fox tribe is only a low-rank tribe. So you're saying that there are still high-level tribes? I wonder what is the standard of a high-rank tribe? Do you have 2 Sea of Souls Realm warriors? Tang Ao didn't know how long he would stay in the snowfield, so it was necessary to know more about the ice and snow plane. Haha, no. To become a high-rank tribe, the tribe must have at least 10 spiritual ocean realm martial artists, or 1 life and death realm martial artist. However, even the strongest Heavenly Wolf tribe did not have any life and death realm warriors. But it is said that there are at least 30 spiritual ocean realm warriors in the Heavenly Wolf tribe. After saying this, Hei Yen felt a bit bored. He handed the wine pot to Tang Ao and said, "Brother Tang Ao, would you like a sip?" Chapter 857. Bing Xian took out a fist-sized jade white fruit from her pocket and handed it to Tang Ao. Tang Ao took the wooden ice fruit and looked at it. Tang Ao found that the wooden ice fruit was very soft to the touch, and the fruit also emitted a refreshing fragrance. After Tang Ao took the wooden ice fruit, Bing Xian lowered her head and no longer looked at the wooden ice fruit. However, how could a child like Bing Xian resist the deliciousness of the wooden ice fruit? "Big brother Tang Ao, can I take a bite of this wooden ice fruit?" Bing Xian's big watery eyes looked at Tang Ao pitifully. Tang Ao wanted to taste the wooden ice fruit. Seeing Bing Xian's appearance, Tang Ao broke the wooden ice fruit in half and handed one half to Bing Xian. "Brother Tang Ao, this wooden ice fruit is not an ordinary item in the snow plains. The wooden ice fruit in your hand is worth 10 jugs of wine." Although Tang Ao had not drunk Hei Yan's wine before, Tang Ao could feel that it was not ordinary from the faint spiritual energy it emitted. "I didn't expect this fruit to be so precious. Thank you, Xian. Tang Ao said as he took a bite of the wooden ice fruit. The wooden ice fruit tasted delicious. But immediately after, Tang Ao's expression changed. This was because Tang Ao was surprised to find that there was a strange warm current flowing in his body from the wooden ice fruit. Under this warm current, Tang Ao's shattered spiritual sea actually recovered a little. Tang Ao was worried that he was wrong, so he ate all the wooden ice fruit. This time, Tang Ao's soul power was tightly locked onto his damaged spiritual sea. Immediately after, Tang Ao saw that there was a slight change in his broken spiritual sea. After his spiritual sea shattered, Tang Ao tried out all the elixirs he had refined and even checked the inherited memories of the Shenong Emperor. However, to Tang Ao's despair, according to the Shenong Emperor's records, there were quite a number of medicinal pills that could repair Dantian and Sea of Consciousness. However, there was no mention of medicinal pills that could repair his spiritual sea and soul sea. Tang Ao also understood that a martial artist with the hidden jade in stone physique was in existence that was 1 in a billion. And now, Tang Ao's 9 Dragons Emperor jade body was even rarer. It was possible that Tang Ao was the only martial artist in the world who possessed a spiritual C and a soul C. Seeing that his spiritual C had recovered a little, Tang Ao was overjoyed. He immediately checked the situation of his soul C. After seeing the situation of his soul C, Tang Ao knew that the wooden ice fruit had a miraculous effect on his soul C and spiritual C. If he consumed a certain amount of wooden ice fruit, his spiritual C and soul C would most likely recover completely. Tang Ao did not pursue a quick recovery of his spiritual C and soul C. As long as his spiritual C recovered a little, Tang Ao would be able to protect himself on the snow plain. Otherwise, it would be very dangerous for Tang Ao to travel on the snow plain with his current strength. If the situation today had been targeted at Tang Ao, then Tang Ao would have been in big trouble. Although Tang Ao did not cause trouble, Tang Ao knew that even if he did not cause trouble, trouble would suddenly find him at some point in time. Just like how the Snow Feather Tribe had received a lot of favors from the Snow Feather Tribe, but after the Snow Feather Tribe had become strong, the Snow Feather Tribe had also been ruthlessly expelled. If the Snow Feather Tribe did not have 2 experts, Ice Howl and Black Smoke, it was not impossible for the Snow Feather Tribe to be massacred by the Snow Feather Tribe. Without strength, freedom, and dignity. Chapter 858. Exian Air, where did this icewood fruit come from? After knowing that the icewood fruit had miraculous effects on his injuries, Tang Ao asked Bing Exian expectantly. Brother Tang Ao, the wooden ice fruit can be found everywhere in the snow plains. However, it grows under the snow and is hard to find. Uncle Heiyan bought this wooden ice fruit for me at the market not long ago. Is it impossible to grow the wooden ice fruit? Or is it because it takes too long to ripen? Tang Ao originally wanted to find some wooden ice fruit trees to transplant into his chaotic hexagram mirror space, but things were not so simple. Brother Tang Ao, you are right this time. The reason why the wooden ice fruit is so precious is because of the time it bears fruit. Each wooden ice fruit tree bears 1 fruit, but the time it bears fruit is uncertain. Sometimes the wooden ice fruit tree will bear fruit once a year, but sometimes it will not bear fruit for hundreds of years. For example, the few wooden ice fruit trees that we grow on Snow Feather Peak, I have never seen them bear fruit. Heiyan knew more about the wooden ice fruit than Bing Exian. The world is really big, there are all sorts of strange things. Tang Ao sighed. So, even if the wooden ice fruit tree is transplanted, it is not valuable unless there are thousands of them transplanted. That way, some of the trees will bear fruit. Tang Ao said his thoughts. Haha, brother Tang Ao, you are wrong. The wooden ice fruit tree is not hard to grow, but it cannot be planted like this. Within a certain range, if too many wooden ice fruit trees are planted, all the wooden ice fruit trees will die. That is why the huge Snow Feather Peak only transplanted 3 wooden ice fruit trees. I do not know if it is because there are too many transplants, but the 3 wooden ice fruit trees have never borne fruit. Heiyan said to Tang Ao, Brother Tang Ao, do you really not want a sip? This is good stuff. Heiyan said as he raised the wine flask. Then have a sip. Tang Ao was not a person who did not drink alcohol. On the contrary, Tang Ao had a preference for wine. Since Heiyan had repeatedly emphasized that this was a good wine, Tang Ao's interest was piqued. Brother Tang Ao is finished. He actually dared to drink Uncle Black Yan's wine. Bing Exian's innocent eyes looked at Tang Ao sympathetically. It was as if the good wine in Heiyan's mouth was poison in her eyes. Tang Ao raised the wine pot and took a big gulp. In an instant, Tang Ao's face flushed red. At the same time, the spiritual energy in Tang Ao's body was also quickly going through the circulatory cycle revolution. However, because Tang Ao's spiritual sea was shattered, the spirit energy Tang Ao had absorbed and refined circulated within Tang Ao's body before dissipating into the surrounding space. "Brother He Yen, your wine is really good." Tang Ao returned the wine pot to He Yen and praised. This wine was really powerful. If it was used for cultivation, it would definitely yield twice the results with half the effort. However, this wine was not suitable for everyone to drink while cultivating. Tang Ao's cultivation technique, the ancient god-moving sky technique, was extremely overbearing. Therefore, this wine did not affect Tang Ao. However, if a person with a soft cultivation technique were to drink this strong wine and cultivate, it would be hard to say if they would go berserk. Ha ha ha, brother Tang Ao, not bad, not bad. Although this wine is a treasure, not everyone can drink it. In the Snow Feather tribe, I have yet to find a second person who can drink this dendrobium wine. When we reach the place, let's drink a few cups. Chapter 859. Brother Tang Ao, if you want the wooden ice fruit, there are only two ways. The first is to search for it yourself in the snowy plains. However, although the wooden ice fruit can be found everywhere in the snow plains, it is something that can only be found by luck. There are many people who search for the wooden ice fruit all day long, but they don't find much. He Yen saw that Tang Ao was very interested in the wooden ice fruit, so he told Tang Ao about it. If that's the case, can Brother He Yen tell me about the second way? The wooden ice fruit was a great help to Tang Ao's current injuries. As long as Tang Ao could obtain a certain amount of wooden ice fruit, then Tang Ao's injuries could be completely healed. Even if it couldn't be completely healed, it could at least be half healed. The snow plains was full of danger, and with Tang Ao's current condition, it was very dangerous. The second way is to go to the scattered market to buy it. The scattered market in the gloomy snow plains is held once every 3 months in the Cloud Foothill mountain range. The Cloud Foothill mountain range is where all the human tribes gather. Every high-ranked tribe and some strong mid-ranked tribes have a station there. Our Snow Feather tribe also has a station there, but it's in a remote location, He Yen said with some pride in his heart. There were at least 800 tribes of different sizes on the gloomy icy plain. However, among all these tribes, the Snow Feather tribe still had a base there. This was something to be proud of. Hearing this, Tang Ao's heart moved. Brother He Yen, what kind of currency is used in the gloomy snow plains? Different regions used different coins. It was reasonable to say that spirit stones should be universal in the black-yellow continent. However, in some places where the martial arts civilization was backward, spirit stones were useless because the people there only accepted gold and silver. Brother Tang Ao, there are two ways to trade in the gloomy snow plains. You can either trade with items or use snow pearls. Bing Xian held a pearl-like pearl in her hand. It was obvious that this pearl was the snow pearl that Bing Xian was talking about. Tang Ao took the snow bead and immediately felt a special wave of spiritual power coming from it. This spiritual force was extremely pure, but the amount was extremely small. Within this snow pearl, there was only an extremely minuscule trace. Tang Ao felt that as long as he wanted to, he could extract this special spiritual power at will. However, Tang Ao didn't do this because Tang Ao knew that once he extracted this spiritual power, the snow bead would be destroyed. After Tang Ao returned the snow bead to Bing Xian took out a slightly larger snow bead. Brother Tang Ao, this snow pearl is a mid-grade snow pearl. There are also high-grade and top-grade snow pearls, but Xian has never seen them before. A mid-grade snow pearl can be exchanged for 100 low-grade snow pearls. High-grade snow pearls and top-grade snow pearls are similar, but normally, only high-grade snow pearls can be exchanged for low-grade snow pearls. After Bing Xian finished speaking, He Yen added, "Brother He Yen, do you usually use these snow pearls to cultivate?" Tang Ao knew that the spiritual power contained in these snow pearls was not something that spirit stones could compare to. Therefore, if the warriors here used snow pearls to cultivate, their cultivation would not be at this level. How could it be so extravagant? Only when breaking through to the next realm would they use snow pearls. Other than those extremely wealthy tribes, no one else would do this kind of thing. The spiritual power in the snow pearls is extremely pure, but the quantity is very small. Moreover, when this spiritual power is absorbed and refined, not even 10% of it is refined. Therefore, although using snow pearls to cultivate is fast, it is too wasteful. Chapter 860. The gloomy poisonous marsh was one of the 5 forbidden areas in the Winter Plains. The so-called forbidden area was the area with the life restriction. From that, it could be seen that the gloomy poisonous marsh was not truly a forbidden area. Within the gloomy poisonous marsh, there were many strange and bewitching plants. Those plants looked extremely beautiful and alluring, but they were also extremely deadly. Not only plants, there were also many poisonous insects and poisonous beasts. Perhaps their appearances were not very sinister, but the poison in their bodies was something that even life and death realm martial artists did not dare to ignore. Tang Ao and the others majestically walked over from the distance. The Snow Feather Peak was not very far from the gloomy poisonous marsh. If only 2 or 3 people were going, they could choose the shortest path. However, the Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe were migrating, so naturally, they could not choose the shortest path. Many people in the tribe were normal people. Human martial artists saw monstrous beasts as food, and in the eyes of monstrous beasts, humans were also food. So, when the crowd headed towards the gloomy poisonous marsh, under He Yan's lead, they circled left and right, avoiding all the strong monstrous beasts' territories. On the road, if they met weak monstrous beasts, they would kill them. If they met strong monstrous beasts, the strong would bring up the rear and the others would take a detour. In that situation, only after walking for nearly 8 hours did Tang Ao see the outline of the gloomy poisonous marsh. At that instant, the crowd stopped again. It wasn't that they didn't want to go, but in front of them, over 10 shadow beasts appeared. In the Winter Plains, shadow beasts were in existence that everyone hated. Shadow beasts could barely be counted as a type of monstrous beast, but the meat of other monstrous beasts could be eaten and they tasted delicious. Even if some special monstrous beasts could not be eaten, the materials on their bodies more or less had some value. However, the shadow beasts were different. The meat of the shadow beasts could not be eaten, and there were no usable monstrous beast materials on the shadow beasts. In that situation, the number of shadow beasts was the most in the dark Winter Plains. Of course, that made people hate them. At that instant, the group of shadow beasts that Tang Ao and the others met were all Origin Realm shadow beasts. They were not strong, but they were not weak either. However, this time around, the Snow Feather Settlement and the Flying Fox Settlement had migrated, and all the experts were gathered in one place. Hence, these dozen shadow beasts were really not enough in front of the experts of the 2 tribes. Ice Howl took a deep breath and said, "Let's attack together. After killing these shadow beasts, we will move forward quickly." He Yan and the rest nodded. He Yan shouted and a huge sword appeared in his hand. This giant sword was formed from one of He Yan's fate souls. From the aura flowing on the fate soul, Tang Ao could tell that this fate soul was at most an 18th heaven fate soul. However, to deal with the Origin Realm shadow beasts, the 18 celestial layer fate spirits were enough. He Yan furiously chopped down with the huge sword in his hand. In an instant, a 5th level Origin Realm shadow beast was chopped in half by He Yan. Tang Ao held Bing Xin and stayed at the back of the crowd, not participating in the battle. If Tang Ao wanted to, Tang Ao could kill all of these shadow beasts by himself. However, Tang Ao's current injuries were rather heavy. If Tang Ao did that, it would definitely worsen his injuries. Although Tang Ao did not attack, Tang Ao's soul power enveloped the surroundings. Chapter 861. What I was afraid of really came true. Tang Ao said. In Tang Ao's perception, a peak-level Yuan martial realm Bear King was running toward them with heavy step. The time that He Yen and the others fought against the shadow beasts did not last for long. Even so, the peak of the Origin Realm armored Bear King was lured out. Dong, dong, dong. As the ground shook violently, everyone in the battle also noticed the arrival of the Bear King. After seeing the Bear King, He Yen and Silver Fox's eyes burned with a strong desire to fight. The peak-level Yuan martial realm Bear King was at the same realm as the two. For the two, it was a powerful opponent worth fighting with all their strength. However, Ice Howl did not plan to let the two fight the Bear King. His body flashed, and he, who was at the back of the crowd, appeared in front of He Yen and Silver Fox. Leave this beast to me. He Yen and Silver Fox, bring the people to the dark poison swamp. Spirit power flashed on Ice Howl's body, and an ice spear appeared behind his back. Although Tang Ao did not participate in the battle, Tang Ao knew that Ice Howl was trying to show off. If he were at his peak, the peak-level Yuan martial realm Bear King would not be enough for him, who was only at the first level of Sea of Souls realm. But right then, Tang Ao could tell that Ice Howl's situation was not much better than his. Therefore, facing this Bear King, Ice Howl was definitely not going to make it. If Tang Ao could tell, then the two who knew Ice Howl's condition would know even better. Therefore, Silver Fox said decisively, "This Bear King is too powerful. The Ice Bear leader, Brother He Yen, and I will hold it off. Fire Fox, you continue to protect the others to the dark poison swamp." Silver Fox did not wait for Ice Howl's agreement and attacked the Bear King first. However, she realized that although she was the first to attack, He Yan's speed was not slower than hers. It was as if He Yen had the same idea as her. However, Silver Fox and He Yen didn't expect that even though their reactions were fast, the Ice Howler's spear had already created a string of sparks on the Bear King's body. The battle erupted in an instant. The armored Bear King raised its head to the sky and roared angrily, causing everyone's ears to hurt. Immediately, Tang Ao saw the armored Bear King break a towering tree with a single slap. Then, the thick tree trunk smashed towards Tang Ao and the others. Looking at the approaching tree trunk, Tang Ao's aura fluctuated, and he was about to make a move. However, at this moment, a figure with a fiery figure suddenly leaped out from behind Tang Ao. Immediately after, the figure punched the tree trunk flying back. It's big sister Fire Fox. Bing Xian, who was in Tang Ao's embrace, said with a smile. Tang Ao saw that the appearance of Fire Fox and Silver Fox was 70 to 80% similar. He secretly guessed that Fire Fox and Silver Fox might be twins. Silver Fox's cultivation was at the peak of the Origin Realm, while Fire Fox's cultivation was similarly strong. Although she had not reached the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Realm, she was still at the 9th level of the Origin Realm. Moreover, Tang Ao also knew that Fire Fox's strength could be considered outstanding even among warriors at the 9th level of the Origin Realm. Otherwise, she would not have been able to blast back the huge tree that the armored Bear King had smashed. Chapter 862. Fire Fox looked at Tang Ao's back and the battle behind them. She gritted her teeth and led the group to chase after Tang Ao. The Snow Feather tribe and the Flying Fox tribe had migrated, and all of the powerful warriors from the two tribes were there. However, facing an existence like the Bear King, there were only 4 people from the two tribes who could join the battle. Ice Howl and He Yen from the Snow Feather tribe could join the battle, while Silver Fox and Fire Fox from the Flying Fox tribe could. Among the 4, besides Elder Ice Howl, who was at the 1st level of the Sea of Souls realm, the other 3 were at the 9th level of the Origin Martial realm. However, other than the 4 of them, the others who joined the battle would just be sending themselves to their deaths. Even if they were at the 8th level of the origin martial realm, they would not be able to last one round against the Bear King and would die on the spot. Firefox very much wanted to participate in the battle. It was not because she was a battle-hungry person. Rather, if she participated, the other three would be much safer. Moreover, if they were lucky, they might even be able to kill off the ironclad Bear King. The Bear King's body was full of treasures. Killing one would be able to exchange it for a lot of useful things when the Yunlu Bazaar opened. Sister Firefox, is this Tang Ao guy reliable? Not everyone trusted Tang Ao like Bing Xian and Ice Howl did. At least, Su Kuei from the Flying Fox tribe was full of doubts about Tang Ao. What Su Kuei did not know was that no one in the Flying Fox tribe trusted Tang Ao at all. Right then, the reason why everyone was following Tang Ao was because they trusted Elder Ice Howl. Once Tang Ao lied and tricked them into going to that poisonous swamp, Firefox would be the first to kill Tang Ao. I don't trust Tang Ao, but we all trust Elder Ice Howl, right? Firefox was still following Tang Ao as she said to Su Kuei lightly. Su Kuei also looked at Tang Ao coldly, then nodded. If this guy lied and tricked us into going to a dangerous place like the gloomy poison swamp, I will be the first to kill him. Let's hope that old Master Ice Howl is not mistaken and that there is indeed a mysterious place in the gloomy poison swamp that no one has discovered. After saying that, Firefox looked at the people around him. Since you already know the answer, why are you still following me? These people had come with Su Kuei. Some were from the Flying Fox tribe, and some were from the Snowfeather tribe. However, everyone knew Firefox's temper, so only Su Kuei could ask. At that moment, everyone understood Firefox's intentions. They quickly returned to their original positions to protect their fellow tribesmen. Brother Tang Ao, we're almost there. Everyone must be very happy to find such a good place. Bing Xian's big watery eyes were brimming with happiness. Tang Ao said. We Tang Ao nod. Tang. Tang Ao. Tang Ao, nod. Tang Ao. Fox head nod. Nod. Ao fire. However, Tang Ao didn't mind. If it were Tang Ao, he would have the same thought. Tang Ao wanted to bring everyone to the island as soon as possible. Because of the large-scale migration of the two tribes, it had attracted the attention of many monsters. Not good. Tang Ao, who was rushing forward, suddenly stopped. The moment Tang Ao stopped, Su Kuei's eyes flashed with killing intent. The gloomy poison swamp was right in front of them, but Tang Ao had suddenly stopped. This made everyone suspicious. Firefox's figure instantly appeared beside Tang Ao. The sharp sword in Firefox's hand gave off the chilling sensation of death. Chapter 863. Brother Tang Ao, why aren't you walking? Bing Xian blinked her beautiful big eyes and asked Tang Ao with a bit of confusion. The Firefox and the others instantly arrived next to Tang Ao. The gloomy poison marsh is in front of us. Why aren't you walking? Or are you lying? Is there no island suitable for survival? The Firefox's voice was very cold. A dangerous aura even enveloped Tang Ao. Sister Firefox, Brother Tang Ao isn't lying. I've been to that place before. Bing Xian immediately said a bit anxiously when she saw the Firefox and the others questioning Tang Ao. Just as Bing Xian's voice fell, a black shadow charged towards Tang Ao and the others. Tang Ao already discovered the shadow beast. So, Tang Ao dodged and completely dodged the shadow beast's attack. Su Kuei, who was standing behind Tang Ao, was not as lucky. He was hit by the peak of the Origin Realm shadow beast. Su Kuei's iron tower-like body was immediately blown away by the shadow beast. Luckily, he had a strong body. Even though he was in a difficult situation, he was not heavily injured. Su Kuei. As the Firefox protected everyone and retreated, she yelled at Su Kuei who was nearby. Sister Firefox, I'm fine. It's just that I'm afraid we can't handle this shadow beast. The shadow beast was at the peak of the 9th level of the origin realm. Its strength was the same as the armored bear king that Bing Xiao and the others were fighting. Within the crowd, only the Firefox was at the 9th level of the origin realm. The strongest was Su Kuei, who was at the 8th level of the origin realm. As for the remaining people, their strength was quite a bit weaker. Even Su Kuei, who was at the 8th level of the origin realm, could only take a beating when facing the peak of the 9th level of the origin realm. Or else, Su Kuei wouldn't have been unable to dodge the shadow beast's attack. Su Kuei, quickly escort everyone to the gloomy poison marsh. I'll lure the shadow beast away. The Firefox hesitated for 3 seconds before making her decision. Although she was unwilling, in a situation like that, sacrifices were unavoidable. Since that was the case, she would be the one to distract this shadow beast. Big Sister Firefox, how could you possibly be a match for that shadow beast by yourself? Let's all work together to deal with it. Bing Xian was somewhat afraid of the powerful shadow beast. However, she had no intention of backing down. That's right, Big Sister Firefox. It's impossible for you to be faster than this shadow beast. How could you possibly lure it away? Why don't you bring everyone away? I'm thick-skinned, so I'll hold this guy back. Su Kuei's hand flashed as he released a gigantic hammer life soul. Clearly, he planned on holding back the shadow beast to buy time for everyone. Tang Ao sighed and handed Bing Xian over to the fox. He then said, I'll lure it away. The gloom poison swamp is just ahead. Xian knows that place. There's a spirit boat in this storage ring. After refining it, we can use it to enter and exit the poisonous swamp. Let's go. Big Brother Tang Ao, how can you do this? You can't defeat this shadow beast at the peak of the origin realm. Bing Xian didn't know how strong Tang Ao was, but she couldn't feel any spiritual force undulations from Tang Ao's body. It was extremely likely that Tang Ao was a normal person. No problem. Tang Ao turned his head and lightly smiled at Bing Xian. Quickly after, the Battle Saint Bone Life Soul of the 29 Heavens was released. The shadow beast's strength was not bad. It had the strength of the peak of the origin realm, and it was known for its speed. Thus, in his heavily injured state, Tang Ao had no way of luring it away. However, Tang Ao wasn't afraid of the shadow beast. The Battle Saint Bone Life Soul was the 29 Heavens Life Soul. Chapter 864. Let's go. After Tang Ao said that, his body turned into a golden light as he attacked the shadow beast in front of him. Tang Ao's body did not have any spirit force fluctuations. Facing Tang Ao's attack, the shadow beast's gaze was filled with disdain. From the shadow beast's point of view, Tang Ao was an ordinary person. It was a shadow beast at the peak of the 9th level of the origin martial realm. Even if it stood there and let Tang Ao hit it for an entire day, Tang Ao would not be able to injure it. Kacha! One of the horns on the shadow beast's head was instantly broken by the Battle Sage Bone Life Soul's fierce punch. The intense pain caused the shadow beast to let out a heaven-shaking roar. After Tang Ao's attack succeeded and enraged the shadow beast, it immediately fled into the depths of the forest. The shadow beast let out waves of thunderous roars that caused everyone's eardrums to hurt. Soon after, the shadow beast furiously chased after Tang Ao. Tang Ao's magnificent feat of breaking the shadow beast's horn stunned everyone, especially Firefox and Su Kuei. Their expressions were complicated and they were speechless for a while. Big Sister Firefox, even Big Sister Silver Fox and Big Brother Hei Yen would not be able to break the shadow beast's horn with one punch, right? Su Kuei asked with uncertainty. Firefox took a deep breath and said, only Elder Ice Howl would be able to do that when he was at his peak. If we had attacked Tang Ao just now, I'm afraid we would be the ones to die. Big Sister Firefox, is Tang Ao really that strong? But why can't I feel any spirit force fluctuations from his body? Also, if he is really that strong, he could definitely join hands with us to kill the shadow beast and not take the risk of luring it away. Su Kuei voiced out the doubt in his heart. Firefox's heart trembled and her expression became somewhat gloomy. I understand. The method Tang Ao used just now should be a forbidden technique with a time limit. Perhaps it was because he didn't use it for long, so Tang Ao could only lure the shadow beast away and was unable to fight it for a long time. If that's the case, I'm afraid Tang Ao won't be able to return. Big Sister Firefox is lying. Big Brother Tang Ao will definitely come back. Bing Xian's big watery eyes seemed to be glistening with tears. Although she was young, she was not a child who knew nothing. Bing Xian knew how strong a peak origin realm shadow beast was. Thus, even though she was unwilling to admit it, Bing Xian knew that what Big Sister Firefox said was probably correct. Alright, we don't know how long Tang Ao can last. That's why we need to send everyone to that small island as soon as possible, then come back and meet up with the Patriarch. After that, we'll go save Tang Ao together. I hope he can hold on for a while longer. Bang! A pitch-black spear bombarded Tang Ao's back, sending Tang Ao flying. Along the way, many towering trees were broken by Tang Ao. Tang Ao stood up and spat out a mouthful of blood. However, Tang Ao did not fight the shadow beast. Instead, he immediately turned around and fled further away. With the support of the battle-sacred bone life spirit, Tang Ao's speed was not slow at all. However, the shadow beast behind Tang Ao was similarly astonishingly fast. Tang Ao's original plan was to use the death trap formation to deal with the shadow beast after pulling away from it. However, the shadow beast did not give Tang Ao any chance to lay a formation. It kept chasing Tang Ao closely behind Tang Ao. If not for the battle-sacred bone life spirit being strong, Tang Ao would have already been killed by the shadow beast's black spear. Chapter 865. Gotcha! Gotcha! Tang Ao kept knocking down the trees in front of him, but the shadow beast that was chasing Tang Ao was extremely violent. All the trees in front of it were brutally smashed by the shadow beast. Looking from above, the shadow beast had forcefully opened up a path in the dense forest. Tang Ao turned back to look at the shadow beast that was chasing him relentlessly. His face was a little pale. Even the battle sage bone life soul on Tang Ao's body was flickering. Clearly, it couldn't hold on for much longer. Tang Ao knew that he was about to reach his limit. If he didn't counterattack now or completely get rid of this shadow beast, he would definitely die after the battle sage bone life soul disappeared. Tang Ao looked at the little soul power in his soul sea. After hesitating for a moment, Tang Ao decided to use all his strength to kill this shadow beast. When the shadow beast appeared in front of Tang Ao again, Tang Ao put away the battle sage bone life soul. Then, the green lotus sword soul appeared in front of Tang Ao. After releasing the green lotus sword soul, Tang Ao's aura was extremely weak. The shadow beast that had been chasing Tang Ao also seemed to sense danger from the green lotus sword soul. It couldn't help but take 2 steps back. Why, weren't you having fun chasing me just now? Now you know fear? It's too late, Tang Ao said as he pointed at the shadow beast. Then, 7 green lotus swords whizzed out, drawing 7 brilliant green streams of light in the air. Feeling the terrifying aura coming from the green lotus swords, the shadow beast knew that it was doomed. Thinking of this, the shadow beast looked at Tang Ao with hatred. Then, it opened its huge mouth, and a black light gathered in its mouth. Clearly, before it died, it wanted to give Tang Ao a blow and die with Tang Ao. Tang Ao saw the shadow beast's movement and sneered. Then, a green light flashed and the shadow beast was cut into pieces by the incomparably sharp green lotus sword. Tang Ao knew that in that moment of life and death, the shadow beast had wanted to use its strongest attack to kill him. But in reality, with Tang Ao's current condition, a random black spear from the Shadow Beast would be enough to kill Tang Ao. However, the powerful defense of Tang Ao's Battle Sage Bone Life Soul had clearly made the Shadow Beast make a mistake in its judgment. Its normal attacks were completely ineffective against a human like Tang Ao. Only by using its strongest attack could it possibly kill Tang Ao. The Shadow Beast's strongest attack wasn't something that could be casually released. It needed some time to gather its spiritual energy. With Tang Ao's rich battle experience, he naturally saw through the Shadow Beast's tricks. So, without hesitation, Tang Ao waved the Green Lotus Sword Soul and killed the Shadow Beast. With a putong sound after killing the Shadow Beast, Tang Ao himself was extremely weak. Just now, it was already very difficult for him to stand. At this moment, Tang Ao fell to the ground. His entire body was powerless and he couldn't move at all. At this time, there was no need for a Shadow Beast at the peak of the 9th level of the Origin Martial Realm. Any Shadow Beast at the 1st level of the Body Refinement Realm would be enough to kill Tang Ao. So, Tang Ao could only pray. At this time, there must not be any Shadow Beast or monstrous beasts passing by. But the world was not as one wished. Just as Tang Ao had this thought, an iron bone wolf appeared in front of Tang Ao. Chapter 866. Tang Ao powerlessly fell to the ground. He had yet to recover from his injuries, and he had forcefully released his fate spirit. At this moment, Tang Ao found it difficult to even move, and at this moment, a steel bone wolf appeared. Tang Ao knew that he would not be able to escape this time. However, Tang Ao was not willing to die like this. In this life, Tang Ao had the inheritance of 3 great emperors, and he had awakened the 9 Dragon Emperor's jade body, which was even more powerful than the hidden jade body in stone. Tang Ao knew that in time, he would reach even higher heights than he did in his previous life. However, right now, Tang Ao was facing a dead end. The Steel Bone Wolf was only a weak demonic beast at the 1st level of the Origin Martial Realm. As long as Tang Ao could move his body, with the powerful physique of a life and death realm cultivator, Tang Ao could kill it with one punch without the help of spirit energy or fate spirit. However, right now, Tang Ao could not even move. Apart from thinking, Tang Ao could also speak. Even if he could speak, Tang Ao did not have much strength. As Tang Ao was thinking, the Steel Bone Wolf walked towards Tang Ao step by step. Tang Ao noticed that the Steel Bone Wolf's body was shaking, and there was an extremely deep wound under its ribs, exposing its white bones. The Steel Bone Wolf slowly approached Tang Ao, and when it was 3 steps away from Tang Ao, it suddenly stopped. The Steel Bone Wolf could also see that Tang Ao's current state was even worse than its own. This kind of prey would die soon, so the Steel Bone Wolf was not in a hurry. It was waiting for Tang Ao to die, and then it would enjoy its prey. If it was at its peak, the Steel Bone Wolf would not be like this. However, at this moment, the Steel Bone Wolf was heavily injured, and its body was very weak. Therefore, the Steel Bone Wolf lay down and did not take the risk to kill Tang Ao. Tang Ao was stunned when he saw the Iron Bone Wolf stop. He quickly understood that he was barely breathing, and this Iron Bone Wolf must have thought that he was about to die. After understanding the Steel Bone Wolf's thoughts, Tang Ao was overjoyed. Right now, Tang Ao was indeed on the verge of death and looked like he could die at any moment. However, Tang Ao knew that he had just overexerted himself and his body was too weak. In addition, his old injuries had not healed yet, and when he fought the Shadow Beast, he suffered new injuries. That was why it looked like this at the moment. On the surface, Tang Ao looked like this, but in reality, Tang Ao's soul sea was already slowly gathering soul power. At the same time, the soul power was completely absorbed by the Jade Bone Life Soul and began to heal Tang Ao's injuries. Although it was impossible to heal Tang Ao's injuries in a short period of time. But as time passed, Tang Ao discovered that he could already move. Looking at the steel bone wolf not far away, Tang Ao was prepared to make a move. However, in order to not put himself in danger again, Tang Ao was not prepared to fight it head-on, but to outsmart it. Tang Ao's eyes began to slacken, and his eyes slowly closed. At the same time, Tang Ao's aura gradually weakened. Tang Ao's life seemed to have come to an end, and he was about to disappear. Seeing this, the steel bone wolf's eyes lit up. Then, it roared and pounced towards Tang Ao's throat. The steel bone wolf's sharp teeth left no doubt that if this bite landed, Tang Ao's throat would definitely be torn apart. However, what the steel bone wolf did not expect was that Tang Ao, who had his back to it, suddenly had a flash of green light in his hand. Chapter 867. Tang Ao felt the power in his body slowly dissipate. Then, he smiled bitterly and fainted. Before his soul power recovered, Tang Ao forcefully released the 29th level Azure Lotus Sword Soul. Although he only released one Azure Lotus Sword, Tang Ao's soul C was completely exhausted. Even the Jade Bone Life Soul could not heal Tang Ao's injuries. On the other side, Bing Xiao and the other two also quickly retreated after Tang Ao and the others escaped. Although the Armored Bear King and the Shadow Beast that Tang Ao killed were both at the peak of the Origin Martial Realm, the Armored Bear King's strength was clearly stronger than the Shadow Beast. Bing Xiao and the others fought against it, but neither side could do anything to the other. So, after the three of them escaped, the Armored Bear King roared in anger and did not continue chasing. When the three of them arrived at the edge of the gloomy poisonous swamp, they saw Bing Xian, Fire Fox, and Su Kuei waiting for them there. There were still some tears on Bing Xian's face. Bing Zhao's heart skipped a beat when he saw Bing Xian's expression. Could it be that Tang Ao lied to them? That couldn't be. His secret technique could sense if someone was lying. When he used his secret technique to sense Tang Ao, he had already confirmed that Tang Ao was telling the truth. Otherwise, he would not have trusted an outsider so carelessly. "Grandpa Chief, brother Tang Ao is gone," Bing Xian said with a sobbing tone. Meanwhile, Fire Fox, who stood beside Aqua Rose, explained to the three of them what happened earlier. Not long ago, when Fire Fox and the others came to the gloomy poisonous swamp, they were attacked by a shadow beast at the peak of the Origin Martial Realm. At the crucial moment, Tang Ao came out and by himself. He lured the peak Origin Realm shadow beast away. At the same time, the clansmen went to the island that Tang Ao mentioned. There was indeed a concealment formation on the island that isolated the surrounding poisonous fog, insects, and beasts. Other than the inconvenience of traveling, the island was indeed a good place to live. Not long ago, the Fire Fox personally saw a shadow beast at the 6th level of the Origin Realm being corroded into a pile of bones by the poisonous mist of the poison marsh. It could be said that the poisonous fog on the poisonous swamp was now a natural barrier between the Snow Feather Settlement and the Flying Fox Settlement, protecting everyone from the invasion of demonic beasts. Where did little brother Tang Ao go? Let's go look for him now, maybe. Hei Yen did not continue speaking. Even if he faced a shadow beast at the peak of the Origin Realm, he would most likely die. From Hei Yen's point of view, Tang Ao seemed to be a normal person who did not have much spirit power in his body. How could he survive from the hands of a shadow beast at the peak of the Origin Realm? Yes. Ice Howler nodded. Fire Fox, Silver Fox, Hei Yen, you three follow me to look for Tang Ao. Su Kuei, bring Xian back to the camp and wait for our news. Xian originally wanted to follow everyone to look for Tang Ao, but when she realized that her strength was too weak, she would only drag everyone down and not be of much help. Xian nodded obediently. Ice Howler laughed. Haha, Xian has grown up. You're not as mischievous as before. Don't worry, Grandpa Chief will definitely bring little brother Tang Ao back. Ice Howler and the others quickly left. After they left, Su Kuei said to Bing Xian, Xiner, let's go back. Big brother Su Kuei, let's go back first. I'm going to look for big brother Tang Ao. As soon as Bing Xin finished speaking, little fire dragon Shix dragged Bing Xin and flew into the distance. Chapter 868. This demonic youth was Tian Xiangfei, the young master of the Dong An tribe, one of the top 10 tribes in the Gloomy Plains. From the moment he was born, it meant that he was extraordinary. Born in the Dong An tribe, he was born to be superior to everyone else. If he wanted to do something, no one could stop him. If he wanted something, he could get it. At this moment, Tian Xiangfei glanced at the unconscious Tang Ao and the dead steel bone wolf next to Tang Ao. A look of disdain flashed through his eyes. Another piece of trash who wants to get rich in the gloomy forest. He risked his life to kill a steel bone wolf. Tian Xiangfei shook his head in disdain. Young master, if this steel bone wolf were to be placed in the Yunlu market, it would be worth at least 100 snow pearls. Should I go take care of it? A shifty-eyed servant behind Tian Xiangfei said. Yes. Tian Xiangfei nodded casually. He then pointed at the unconscious Tang Ao and said, Don't worry about this kid. We obtained a steel bone wolf in the Gloomy Mountains. Naturally, we need to leave some gifts for the Gloomy Mountains. The servant had been planning to dig a hole to bury Tang Ao, but after hearing Tian Xiangfei's words, he didn't dare to dig anymore. Beside Tian Xiangfei stood a pair of beautiful twin sisters. The older sister was called Bai Qin, and the younger sister was called Bai Suru. Bai Qin and Bai Suru were the daughters of a mid-level tribe leader. Bai Qin and Tian Xiangfei were already engaged. Even so, Tian Xiangfei's eyes still occasionally swept over Bai Suru's delicate face and petite body. It was obvious that Tian Xiangfei also had some thoughts about Bai Suru. At this time, Bai Suru suddenly realized that Tang Ao's hand seemed to have moved. Bai Suru was shocked. After all, everyone thought that Tang Ao was dead. Now that Tang Ao's finger had moved, didn't that mean that he had come back from the dead? Fortunately, Bai Suru was smart. She soon realized that Tang Ao did not come back from the dead. Instead, he did not die at all. Thinking of this, Bai Suru used her soul power to scan Tang Ao's body. After sensing Tang Ao's weak aura, Bai Suru knew that Tang Ao was still alive. He was just heavily injured. Just when Bai Suru wanted to say that, she suddenly recalled that her cultivation was the weakest in that place. Not long ago, she broke into the first level of the Origin Realm. But if even she could sense that Tang Ao was still alive, how could the others not be able to sense it? Since that was the case, it meant that Tian Xiangfei did it on purpose, and the others did not dare to disobey Tian Xiangfei's decision. At that moment, Bai Suru's sister, Bai Qin, turned around and gave Bai Suru a look. Bai Qin knew that her younger sister was kind-hearted and wouldn't stand by and watch someone die. But since Tian Xiangfei intentionally let Tang Ao be eaten by the monstrous beast, and since Tang Ao was not related to them, they did not want to offend Tian Xiangfei for such a small matter. Bai Suru obediently nodded. Clearly, she understood the severity of the situation. After putting away the iron bone wolf next to Tang Ao, a hint of cruelty flashed through Tian Xiangfei's playful eyes. Tian Xiangfei naturally knew that the brat in front of him was not dead. But what Tian Xiangfei did not know was that when his servant arrived next to Tang Ao woke up. But Tang Ao did not know the details of Tian Xiangfei's group, so Tang Ao did not do anything. Chapter 869. Tang Ao laid on the ground quietly and didn't move at all. However, Tang Ao's soul power enveloped the surroundings. There were a lot of beasts in the Gloomy Mountains. Although Tang Ao was very weak now, he could still avoid the beasts if he discovered them in advance. Secondly, if Tian Xiangfei and his group were plotting against him, Tang Ao would be able to discover it immediately. Just when Tang Ao thought that Tian Xiangfei and his group were about to leave, Tian Xiangfei's eyes suddenly lit up. He noticed that the storage ring on Tang Ao's hand was very similar to the rank 4 storage ring on his father's hand. What a lucky kid! After seeing Tang Ao's storage ring, Tian Xiangfei walked to Tang Ao's side and took off Tang Ao's storage ring. This storage ring wasn't the one that Tang Ao usually used. Moreover, Tang Ao's valuable items were all stored in the chaotic 6 light mirrors space. However, Tang Ao still felt a chill in his heart when Tian Xiangfei took his storage ring. However, Tang Ao still pretended to be unconscious and didn't know anything. Tang Ao could tell that the person in front of him was not a kind person. Moreover, there was a first-level C of Soul's Realm martial artist among his guard. With Tang Ao's current condition, he definitely couldn't afford to offend such an existence. Therefore, after Tang Ao made a mark on the storage ring with his soul power, he didn't care about it anymore. As expected, after Tian Xiangfei took Tang Ao's storage ring, a satisfied smile instantly appeared on his face. Looking at the huge space inside the storage ring, Tian Xiangfei knew that he had picked up a treasure. This storage ring turned out to be a 4th-grade storage ring. Tian Xiangfei put on Tang Ao's storage ring and waved his hand, bringing everyone away. As for Tang Ao's life or death, Tian Xiangfei didn't care at all. After getting Tang Ao's storage ring, Tian Xiangfei even wanted to give Tang Ao another one so that Tang Ao would die a little more. After all, taking Tang Ao's storage ring was not something to be proud of. However, with everyone looking at him, Tian Xiangfei couldn't do anything. However, Tian Xiangfei remembered that Tang Ao was unconscious and that there were many beasts in the dark mountains, so he sneered and stopped thinking about it. Young Master Tian, it's already late. Su Ro and I will go back to the tribe first. We will go hunt beasts together tomorrow. Bai Qin bowed to Tian Xiangfei and said gently. Tian Xiangfei reached out to touch this beauty's face, but Bai Qin was very nervous and actually dodged his hand. Young Master Tian, I haven't married into the Dong and tribe yet. Please behave yourself. Tian Xiangfei carelessly placed his hand on Bai Qin's chin and looked at her frivolously. Miss Bai Qin, you and I are already engaged. You will be mine sooner or later. Why think so much? Tian Xiangfei snorted coldly and left the place. After Tian Xiangfei left, Bai Suru looked at her sister with a pained expression. Sister, I really don't know what father was thinking. How could he let you marry such an animal? Bai Qin shook her head sadly. Although Tian Xiangfei is a spoiled brat, he is a rank 3 blacksmith at such a young age. Blacksmiths have a high status in the entire Winter Plains. Plus, he is the young chief of the Dong and tribe, one of the top 10 tribes. How could we, the Frost tribe, dare to reject him? Let's not talk about this anymore. Let's go back. Hearing that her sister was going back, Bai Suru remembered the dying Tang Ao. Sister, can I discuss something with you? Chapter 870. In the gloomy mountains, Tang Ao was lying quietly on the barren land. At this moment, Tang Ao was in a sorry state. His clothes were torn, and there were many bloodstains on his body. Tang Ao opened his eyes and felt his body's condition. Suddenly, Tang Ao frowned. Tang Ao's soul power had sensed the people who had left not long ago. Now 2 girls had returned. Did they take my storage ring and come back to kill me? Tang Ao thought. At the same time, Tang Ao secretly communicated with the battle sage Bone Life Spirit and the Green Lotus Sword Soul. If the 2 of them attacked him, Tang Ao would not hesitate to kill them with lightning speed. Because of the storage ring, Tang Ao did not have a good impression of the 2. Sister, this is great. He hasn't been eaten by the monster yet. Bai Suru saw that Tang Ao was still lying there and said happily. The gloomy mountains are full of monsters. This kid is lucky to meet my silly sister under these circumstances. But just now I noticed that his injuries are very serious. Even if he doesn't die, he can't be saved. As Bai Qin spoke, she used her soul power to scan Tang Ao again. Bai Qin was shocked. Tang Ao was still seriously injured, but compared to before, Tang Ao's injuries were much better. As Tang Ao listened to their conversation, he was secretly puzzled. These two girls were clearly in cahoots with the arrogant singing young man. But from their conversation, it seemed like they wanted to save him. Bai Suru walked to Tang Ao's side and checked Tang Ao's pulse. Bai Suru was shocked and said strangely, "Sister, when I used my soul power to scan him, his injuries were very serious. But in just a moment, his injuries have healed so much. Could it be that someone had treated him before us?" Bai Qin shook her head. "I don't know either. Perhaps this kid has a special constitution that allows him to recover faster. Anyway, let's bring him back to the tribe first. Otherwise, the Tian Xiangfei might send someone to cause trouble for him." Bai Suru nodded and picked up Tang Ao. "Sister, this guy is so heavy. Why don't you carry him?" Bai Qin rolled her eyes at her. "I'm about to get married. If Tian Xiangfei's spies see me, won't you be harming him? In my opinion, we should just drag him back to the tribe." Bai Suru shook her head. "Sister, he is already so heavily injured. How can he withstand the turbulence? I'll carry him," Bai Suru said as she carried Tang Ao on her back. Although it was still very heavy to carry Tang Ao on his back, it was much better than carrying him. At this moment, Tang Ao's consciousness was completely clear. Feeling the frail body on his back, Tang Ao felt a wave of suffering in his heart. At the same time, Tang Ao's arms dropped down. He did not touch Bai Suru's impressive breast. Tang Ao enjoyed it, but Bai Suru was extremely embarrassed. If she did not know that the guy on her back was unconscious, Bai Suru would have suspected that Tang Ao was doing it on purpose. "You are also a virgin. If you carry a man like this, you might not be able to get married in the future." Bai Qin looked at Bai Suru's swaying and secretly cursed Tang Ao for being so lucky with women. He actually let his own sister carry him. It was just that Tang Ao was currently unconscious and could not enjoy such a wonderful moment. Chapter 871. Along the way, Tang Ao had mixed feelings. He was enjoying it, but at the same time, he had a strange feeling. Luckily, an hour later, Tang Ao arrived at Bai Suru's tribe. After returning to the tribe, Bai Suru put Tang Ao down. At the same time, she shook her numb arm and said softly, "This guy is so heavy. I'm so tired." The people of the Frost tribe saw Bai Suru and Bai Qin return and surrounded them. The elder of the Frost tribe, Bai Yuanfeng, saw Bai Suru and Bai Qin return with an unconscious man. His face turned cold. "Who is this? Now that the Frost tribe and Dong, a tribe, have a marriage alliance, why did you two bring a man back? Men, throw this man out." Bai Yuanfeng's face was cold as he looked at Tang Ao, who was lying on the ground. "Who dares? It took me a lot of effort to carry him back. I'm not going to marry Dong and tribe. Why do you have to throw him out?" Bai Suru hated this elder very much. He was the one who advocated for the marriage alliance between the Frost tribe and Dong and tribe. He had sent her sister to that devil, Tian Xiangfei. You have no respect for your elders. Although you're not going to marry Dong and tribe, you're going to marry the young master of the Qinghong tribe, Song Yu. At this moment, young master Song Yu is a guest in our tribe. You are not allowed to mess around, Bai Yuanfeng said, sending out a massive hand made out of essence energy towards Tang Ao, wanting to crush Tang Ao. "Don't you dare!" Bai Suru was furious when she heard the elder arrange the marriage for her. Bai Suru's body flashed and appeared in front of Tang Ao. If the elder did not stop, she would be crushed into a bloody mist. Bai Yuanfeng saw Bai Suru standing in front of Tang Ao and snorted. Although he held back a little, he still tried to grab Bai Suru. "Grand Elder, stop!" Bai Qin didn't expect the Grand Elder to dare to attack her sister and immediately shouted. However, Bai Yuanfeng had no intention of stopping. As Bai Suru screamed, Bai Suru fell to the ground with a pale face. The spiritual energy in his body was in a mess, and his qi and blood were in turmoil. However, Bai Suru was stubborn. After being injured by the battle, she coldly looked at the head elder, picked up Tang Ao, and walked back to her room. If you want to form a marriage alliance with the Qinghong tribe, you can do it yourself or send my corpse over. If it wasn't for father. Bai Suru suddenly stopped. The leader of the Frost tribe, who was also Bai Suru's father, had been poisoned by a deadly poison. Bai Suru almost told the others about it. Although the Great Elder already knew about this, the other clansmen didn't. Once this news got out, it would definitely cause chaos in the clan. It was also because her father was poisoned that the Great Elder dared to be so arrogant. Moreover, the Great Elder already had plans to replace her father. After Bai Suru placed Tang Ao on her bed, Tang Ao slowly opened his eyes. Tang Ao pretended to be confused and looked around. He then said, "Thank you for saving my life, lady. I remember I died with a steel bone wolf. I didn't expect to still be alive." Then, Tang Ao seemed to want to take something out of his storage ring to give to Bai Suru, but Tang Ao's fingers were empty. Tang Ao slapped his head. "I guess I lost my storage ring when I was fighting with a monster. What a shame. I am Tang Ao. May I know your name?" Tang Ao smiled at Bai Suru. Chapter 872. Tang Ao naturally knew that his storage ring was not lost during the battle with the beasts. Instead, it was taken away by the shadowy young man who traveled with Bai Suru. At the same time, Tang Ao understood that the shadowy young man seemed to have some sort of status. Even Bai Suru and her sister did not dare to offend him. Therefore, Tang Ao would not reveal this matter to others. He did not want to embarrass Bai Suru. Moreover, in a sense, Bai Suru had indeed saved Tang Ao's life. She was Tang Ao's savior. Tang Ao was very grateful towards Bai Suru. Although Tang Ao's injuries had recovered quite a bit, if Tang Ao were to stay in the wild for a long time in his current condition, it would be very easy for him to run into situations that he could not handle. Moreover, Tang Ao also understood that because she had saved him, the people in Bai Suru's tribe seemed to be a bit dissatisfied with her. Even now, there was still someone watching outside Bai Suru's room. It was a man with a black mask on his face. His soul power was a bit special, and it was very well hidden. He hid in the dark, and his figure seemed to have merged with the darkness. Moreover, what surprised Tang Ao the most was that he could not see through this person's cultivation. Tang Ao could only vaguely sense that this person's strength should be at the Sea of Souls realm. However, Tang Ao did not know exactly which level of Sea of Souls realm he was at. When Tang Ao's soul power scanned through him, Tang Ao clearly saw this person's expression fluctuate a bit. It was obvious that this person had sensed Tang Ao's soul power. Even though Tang Ao was heavily injured, Tang Ao's soul power was still very strong. However, this person had still sensed Tang Ao's powerful and profound soul power. This was enough to prove that this person was not ordinary, or that this person was very dangerous. Tang Ao noticed the person watching outside the room, but Bai Suru did not notice at all. In Bai Suru's room, there was a copper pot. In the copper pot there were large pieces of beast meat and some herbs. Bai Suru rolled up her sleeves, took out a clean porcelain bowl, and filled it with meat soup for Tang Ao. "You are heavily injured, so this is to nourish your body." Tang Ao lifted the bowl and smelled the fragrance. Moreover, although the food that he ate would turn into turbid air and dissipate out of his body, it would still leave some impurities in his body. Although the food that he ate would turn into turbid air and dissipate out of his body, it would still leave some impurities in his body. However, this was not a problem for him. This was not a problem for Tang Ao. After drinking a mouthful of the broth, Tang Ao's spirit was shaken. He looked at the half-bowl of broth in disbelief. This meat soup is really delicious. I have never eaten such delicious food before. Tang Ao had lived 2 lives, so naturally, he had eaten a lot of delicacies. However, Tang Ao had never eaten such delicious food before. At the same time, after drinking the broth, a strange warmth slowly flowed into Tang Ao's heart. Tang Ao looked inside himself and found that his body constitution had been slightly strengthened. Although the change was very subtle, Tang Ao's heart was in turmoil. Tang Ao's body constitution was not an ordinary one. It was the 9 Dragons Emperor's jade body that even Tao masters would drool over. However, just now, the almost perfect 9 Dragons Emperor's jade body had been strengthened. Ha ha ha, although it is difficult for some tribes to hunt for meat, it is not like you have never eaten it before, right? Baisuru chuckled, then scooped herself a bowl of meat soup and drank a mouthful. Tang Ao, which tribe are you from? Seeing that you appeared in the Gloom Mountains, you should be from the surrounding tribes. However, I have never seen you before. Chapter 873. Tang Ao, you're not from the Winterfrost Plain? Are you the same as Brother Yi Wuji? Did you come from the outside? Baisuru asked Tang Ao curiously. Tang Ao's heart skipped a beat. When Baisuru said the name Yi Wuji, Tang Ao's soul power clearly sensed that the body of the black-clothed youth outside Baisuru's room moved slightly. Could it be that the person outside was Yi Wuji, or was he related to Yi Wuji? Tang Ao thought to himself. He then asked casually, "Are there other people in your tribe who also came from outside the Winterfrost Plain? I was chased by my enemies, so I used a very powerful escape talisman and entered the Winterfrost Plain by mistake. As far as I know, there seems to be only one way to the 5 elements demonic realm. There doesn't seem to be a way to the black-yellow continent." Tang Ao was not sure if Baisuru could understand this, but he still asked. Tang Ao could not stay here forever. If his injuries could not get better, Tang Ao had to leave. The level of the spirit grasses in this place was too low. Although Tang Ao had Shinong Emperor's inheritance and could refine a lot of healing pills, these high-level pills could only be refined with high-level spirit grasses. In the ice and snow plain, spirit grasses above LV5 were very rare, let alone LV6 or even higher-level spirit grasses. Baisuru's beautiful eyes turned and then she said, "Do you want to go home? Don't worry, there are many people who enter the Winterfrost Plain from other places. Almost every once in a while, there will be a few. Brother Yi Wuji came from the outside. This means that there must be a way to connect the Winterfrost Plain with other places." Tang Ao secretly praised Baisuru's cleverness. She vaguely guessed what he was thinking when he asked casually. Moreover, Tang Ao was a little confused. It seemed that Baisuru and Yi Wuji had a good relationship, but why was Yi Wuji monitoring Baisuru outside the room? Tang Ao couldn't figure it out, so he didn't point it out. Furthermore, Yi Wuji could not be considered a surveillance right now. Although he was outside the room, he did not cover the room with his soul power at all times. He could only hear the conversation between Tang Ao and Baisuru with his powerful sixth sense. "Miss Bai, have you heard of Pentachinensis here?" Pentachinensis was a kind of 6th-grade spiritual grass, one of the main spiritual grasses used to refine the origin-restoring pill. The energy-gathering pill was the strongest healing pill that Tang Ao could refine at present, but among the spiritual herbs needed to refine the energy-gathering pill, the most important spiritual herb, the 5-split gold thread, was not available to Tang Ao. Although he asked, Tang Ao did not have much hope. This was because even in the black-yellow continent, which was rich in resources, the 5-split gold thread was still very rare. In the ice and snow plains, rank 5 spirit grasses were extremely rare. According to Bing Xin, there were only a few kinds of rank 6 spirit grasses. Therefore, it was very likely that there was no such spiritual herb as Pentaspora chinensis in the winter plain. Let me think. Tang Ao's question made Baisuru momentarily unable to answer. In Baisuru's impression, she had heard of a spiritual herb called Penta chinensis somewhere. After thinking for a moment, Baisuru seemed to have thought of something. Suddenly, she rolled her eyes at Tang Ao. I remember now. Penta chinensis is a rank 6 spirit grasses. You're asking about the whereabouts of a rank 6 spirit grasses. Could it be that you're a rank 6 alchemist? Chapter 874. Yes, to be honest, I am indeed an alchemist, but I am not a 6th realm alchemist. Not long ago, Tang Ao heard that the old man in Baisuru's tribe had sent Baisuru to another tribe for a 3rd realm alchemist. Therefore, he knew that although there weren't many spirit grasses in the ice plain, alchemists seemed to have a surprisingly high status. Therefore, if Tang Ao were to tell the truth, Baisuru would not believe him. Tang Ao did not know what realm the best alchemist here was. At the same time, before he had the ability to protect himself, revealing his alchemy ability was a very dangerous thing to do. If he was seen by someone with bad intentions, Tang Ao would most likely be captured and forced to refine pills for the rest of his life. Are you really an alchemist? What realm are you? After knowing that Tang Ao was an alchemist, Baisuru looked at Tang Ao with shining eyes. A 3rd realm. Tang Ao did not know why Baisuru was so passionate about alchemy, but he still lowered the level of his alchemy ability. However, what Tang Ao did not expect was that Baisuru's mouth twitched. Tang Ao, I am really interested in alchemy, but I have been learning alchemy for 10 years and I am only a high-level 1st realm alchemist. How old are you? How can you be a 3rd realm alchemist? Baisuru was a little angry, as if she was certain that Tang Ao had lied to her. Tang Ao was a bit speechless. When he said that he was a 3rd-grade alchemist, that was an understatement. If he told her the truth and told her that he was a 6th-grade alchemist, then Baisuru would probably ignore him. I have been cultivating in an alchemy sect since I was young, so my alchemy skills are slightly better than others. Tang Ao felt that becoming a 3rd-tier alchemist was not too difficult, and Baisuru had saved his life. If there was anything that could help Baisuru now, Tang Ao would not refuse. Hearing Tang Ao say this, the doubt in Baisuru's eyes lessened a little, but she still asked, Are you really a 3rd-grade alchemist? I thought that only Song Yu that fellow could become a Tier 3 alchemist at this age. If I was also a 3rd-grade alchemist, that old man by Yuan Feng would not have forced me to marry Song Yu's tribe. When Song Yu was mentioned, Baisuru glanced at Tang Ao and said, Although you look a little ragged right now, you look much better than Song Yu. If Bai Yuanfeng forces me again, I might as well marry you. Of course, the prerequisite is that you are a 3rd-grade alchemist. Tang Ao was once again shocked by Baisuru's words. If he was a 3rd-grade alchemist, would such a beautiful girl like Baisuru be willing to marry him? Among the beauties that Tang Ao had seen, Baisuru, Luotsai, and Enruosu could be said to be at the same level. Although Baisuru was still a little immature, this immaturity could not hide her peerless beauty. Seeing Tang Ao's embarrassed look, Baisuru could not help but laugh. Who told you to brag? Now you know how powerful I am? You even said that you are a 3rd-grade alchemist. Not to mention that you are a 3rd-grade alchemist, even if you were a 2nd-grade alchemist, I would still consider marrying you. It is rare to see such a young 2nd-grade alchemist. But I already have a lover, so I may have to disappoint Miss Bai's kindness. Tang Ao thought seriously and said, Chapter 875. I am indeed a rank 3 spirit alchemist. How about I concoct a cauldron of spirit ocean pills for you to see? Tang Ao was worried that Baisuru would think that he was lying again, so Tang Ao suggested concocting a cauldron of spirit ocean pills for Baisuru to see. Spirit ocean pills were the pills used by warriors at the peak of the origin realm to make a breakthrough. After taking the spirit ocean pill, the chance of a warrior at the peak of the origin realm breaking through to the spirit ocean realm would increase by 30 to 90%. The higher the quality of the spirit ocean pill, the higher the chance. However, the higher the quality of the spirit ocean pill, the harder it was to concoct. Many alchemists could concoct low, medium, and even high-quality spirit ocean pills, but they might not be able to concoct special-quality spirit ocean pills in their entire lives. Indeed, after hearing Tang Ao's words, Baisuru's eyes brightened. Seeing Tang Ao's confident expression, Baisuru waved her hand and took out a small cauldron from her storage ring, along with a set of ingredients for spirit ocean pills and a set of ingredients for nurturing chi pills. Nurturing chi pills were also a rank 3 spirit pill, but nurturing chi pills were a less valuable healing pill. On the other hand, spirit ocean pills were one of the most valuable rank 3 spirit ocean pills. Tang Ao, if you are not confident, then concoct a cauldron of nurturing chi pills. Because the ingredients for spirit ocean pills are very precious, I have only managed to gather one set of ingredients for spirit ocean pills. Baisuru did not finish her sentence. The ingredients for spirit ocean pills seemed to be very important to Baisuru, so when Baisuru spoke to Tang Ao, she changed her playful expression and said seriously, "Lady Bai, don't worry. I have concocted a lot of spirit ocean pills." Tang Ao knew that the reason why Baisuru took out the cauldron and ingredients was because his storage ring was taken by Tian Xiangfei. Although Baisuru had not told Tang Ao how he lost his storage ring, Tang Ao would not blame Baisuru. After all, Baisuru was not the one who took Tang Ao's storage ring, and Baisuru had saved his life. After Tang Ao finished speaking, he threw the spirit herbs needed to refine the spirit sea pill into the alchemy furnace one by one. Even though Tang Ao's current strength was less than 1%, Tang Ao's attainments in alchemy did not decline too much. Alchemy was different from combat. Combat required the support of spiritual power and life soul, but alchemy only required powerful soul power to control the size of the flame in the furnace and purify and fuse the herbs. Baisuru originally had some expectations for Tang Ao. If Tang Ao really did cultivate in an alchemy sect like he said, then it would not be impossible for him to concoct spirit sea pills at this age. But after seeing Tang Ao alchemy, Baisuru was extremely disappointed. At the same time, tears of grievance flashed in Baisuru's eyes. Although she would not blame Tang Ao after Tang Ao alchemy failed, these herbs were not easy to come by. However, these herbs had not come easily. 2 of them were even betrothal gifts that Tian Xiangfei had given to his sister, Bai Qin. In order to get these herbs, Baisuru went through a lot of hardships just to concoct a spirit sea pill for. Baisuru shook her head. It was useless to think about it now. Because Tang Ao had thrown all the herbs needed to concoct spirit sea pill into the cauldron, Baisuru initially thought that if Tang Ao alchemy's skills were not good enough, she would find a way to stop him from continuing to concoct spirit sea pills and save some of the herbs. Chapter 876. Naturally, Tang Ao did not know what Baisuru was thinking. Otherwise, Tang Ao would have been speechless. Previously, Tang Ao had also refined pills in this manner, but in fact, many pills did not need to be refined in this manner. It was just that Tang Ao wanted to save time, so when he extracted the herbs and fused the medicinal liquid, he extracted all the herbs at the same time and then fused them one by one. It was not impossible to concoct pills like this, but it had a very high requirement for the alchemist. Even in the Black-Yellow continent, there was no other alchemist who could do this except for Tang Ao. However, concocting spirit sea pill was different. To concoct a special grade spirit sea pill, one had to fuse the extracted medicinal liquid at the same time. If one missed the best time to fuse, even if Tang Ao was a 6th-grade alchemist and had the alchemy inheritance from the Shennong Emperor, he would not be able to concoct a special-grade Spirit Sea pill. However, Baisuru had never seen this method of concocting pills before. She had never even heard of concocting pills like this. Therefore, in Baisuru's eyes, Tang Ao did not know how to concoct pills at all. Baisuru was very disappointed. She had casually given such a precious Spirit Sea pill to a stranger to concoct. Moreover, she was not sure of his alchemy ability. Now that Baisuru was sure of Tang Ao's alchemy ability, it meant that Tang Ao really did not know how to concoct pills. Even so, Baisuru was still very confused. Normally, if Tang Ao threw all the herbs into the cauldron like this, all the herbs should have been burnt to ashes. However, until now, there was nothing unusual in the cauldron. Thinking about this, Baisuru's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that Tang Ao could not even gather his alchemy fire? If that was the case, all the herbs should be inside the cauldron. Thinking about this, Baisuru excitedly sent her soul power into the cauldron. However, what made Baisuru depressed was that the cauldron had the ability to block other people's soul power. Therefore, her soul power could not seep into the cauldron to see what was happening inside. Just as Baisuru did not know what to do, Baisuru looked confused. Because at this moment, a faint fragrance of pills actually suffused her room. Could it be that fellow Song Yu is refining pills? Song Yu was not concocting pills at the moment. Instead, he was not far from Baisuru's room. Song Yu was holding a gift box in his hand. Inside the gift box was a snow-white medicinal pill. It was a mid-grade Spirit Sea pill. Suddenly, Song Yu furrowed his brows. At this moment, he actually smelled a pill fragrance in the air. Furthermore, this pill fragrance was somewhat special. Song Yu was certain that this pill fragrance was being emitted by the Spirit Sea pill. Is Su Ro making pills? When did her alchemy level become so high? Thinking of this, Song Yu quickened his pace. Rise! Suddenly, Tang Ao patted the pill furnace and immediately shot out a pill incantation. A round pill with a jade-white luster flew out of the cauldron and fell into the jade bottle that Tang Ao had prepared in advance. After storing the pill, Tang Ao casually put up a restriction. The maximum number of Spirit Sea pills was 3 pills. However, Tang Ao had still underestimated his own injuries. Therefore, he was only able to concoct 1 special-grade Spirit Sea pill. As for the remaining 2 pills, Tang Ao directly gave up on them. Chapter 877. Tang Ao did not know who Song Yu was, but he could only shake his head after hearing such arrogant words. There were many geniuses in the world. Even Tang Ao did not dare to say that he was the best among the 6th realm alchemists. There was always someone better out there. Even in the Winter Plain, Tang Ao did not believe that Song Yu was the best 3rd realm alchemist. Moreover, Song Yu's age seemed to be similar to Tang Ao's. If Tang Ao was also counted as an alchemist of the ice and snow plains, then Song Yu would not be able to catch up with Tang Ao's alchemy ability. Song Yu, please call me Baisuru. We are not that close. Also, this is my room. Please leave. At this moment, Baisuru was still in a daze. It was not because of Song Yu's sudden visit, but because Tang Ao actually managed to concoct a medicinal pill. Although she did not know the grade of the pill, it was most likely the lowest grade Spirit Sea pill. But Baisuru did not care. She only cared about the Spirit Sea pill. At this moment, Baisuru could not wait to see the pill that Tang Ao had concocted. However, Song Yu had barged in at this time. How could Baisuru not be angry? Baisuru did not have a good impression of Song Yu, and this was her room. Song Yu did not even knock on the door. He just pushed the door open. Suru, why are you doing this? I heard that you needed a Spirit Sea pill, so I brought it to you. Song Yu opened the gift box in his hand, revealing the snow-white pill inside. Song Yu looked at the pill and said proudly, "This is a mid-level Spirit Sea pill that I personally made. Even my master praised me when he saw it. I believe this pill will satisfy your requirements, Su-ro." After seeing the middle-grade Spirit Sea pill, Bai Suru's eyes flickered. Although she desperately needed this pill, she had no intention of accepting it. "Thank you for your kindness, but I do not need it. Mr. Song, please leave." Bai Suru, you do not know what is good for you. You will be mine sooner or later. You better be polite to me. Do you think that you can refine the Spirit Sea pill just by finding some trash from somewhere else? After Song Yu finished speaking, he coldly stared at Tang Ao and said, "Take out the pills you refined. Even if they are the lowest grade Spirit Sea pills, I can still recommend you to enter the Heavenly Wolf Tribe's medicine refining valley. Just don't let me see you in front of Su-ro." Tang Ao's eyes were exceptionally cold. He didn't provoke Song Yu, but this person was arrogant because he was a third-grade alchemist. Not only was he overbearing, he even spoke rudely to him just now. If this guy was outside, Tang Ao would definitely teach him a good lesson. But right now, in the Frost Tribe, in order to not implicate Bai Suru's tribe, Tang Ao decided to keep a low profile. Scram. Next time, don't use this kind of trash pill to compare with my pill. Tang Ao's voice was indifferent and he had no intention of taking out his own pill. Someone like Song Yu did not have the right to see the pills he refined. This was Tang Ao's arrogance as a sixth-grade alchemist and as the disciple of the Shennong Emperor. Hearing Tang Ao's impolite words, Song Yu's eyes were filled with killing intent. "Bastard, you're courting death!" "Enough, Song Yu, please leave. This is the Frost Tribe, not the Medicine Refining Valley, and not your Qinghong tribe." Bai Suru, who had always been gentle, said coldly to Song Yu. Chapter 878. I'm sorry, Tang Ao. I've dragged you into this. I'll prepare some things for you. You should leave. Bai Suru looked at Tang Ao apologetically. Although she hated Song Yu, her father was the chief of the Frost Tribe, so Song Yu did not dare to do anything to her. However, Tang Ao would definitely be hated by Song Yu. Song Yu was a rank 3 alchemist. In the Winter Plain, he could be said to have hundreds of followers. If Song Yu wanted to deal with an outsider like Tang Ao, who had no background, there would be many people who would be willing to help. There were not many alchemists in the Winter Plain. Therefore, any pellet in the Winter Plain was much more precious than in the Black-Yellow Continent. Even in the Black-Yellow Continent, alchemists had a very high status. In the Winter Plain, the status of alchemists rose again. After Tang Ao heard this, he smiled and said, "What is the matter with the Alchemy Valley's Alchemy Conference?" Tang Ao didn't care about Song Yu. In terms of alchemy, Tang Ao was a rank 6 alchemist and Song Yu was only a rank 3 alchemist. In terms of cultivation, Tang Ao was a rank 1 life and death realm cultivator. Although he had not recovered from his heavy injuries, Song Yu, who was only at the 6th level of the Origin realm, could not offend him. Bai Suru rolled her eyes at Tang Ao. She did not know if Tang Ao was too arrogant or if he had someone else to rely on. However, Bai Suru still explained the alchemy conference to Tang Ao. Although many tribes in the Winter Plain believe that the Heavenly Wolf Tribe is the strongest existence in the Winter Plain, I believe that even if the Alchemy Valley is not stronger than the Heavenly Wolf Tribe, they are on par with them. In the Winter Plain, all rank 3 and above alchemists come from the Alchemy Valley. That Song Yu just now is the disciple of an elder from the Alchemy Valley. Bai Suru paused and looked at Tang Ao. "Have you heard of the wood ice fruit?" Wood ice fruit? Not only had Tang Ao heard of it, but not long ago, Bing Xian had given half to Tang Ao to eat. Tang Ao had inherited the alchemy Tao from the Shennong Emperor, so he had an understanding of almost all the treasures in the world. However, This wood ice fruit was not within the scope of Tang Ao's knowledge. After eating the icewood fruit, Tang Ao felt that if he could obtain a large number of icewood fruits, his injuries might be able to recover. I know about the wood ice fruit. I tasted it not long ago. This seems to be a type of spirit fruit unique to this place. Moreover, it has a certain healing ability. At the same time, it can cleanse a martial artist's physique and strengthen their soul power. It can be said to be a kind of treasure, Tang Ao said after thinking for a moment. When Bai Suru heard Tang Ao's evaluation of the wooden ice fruit, she nodded to herself. Almost everyone knew that the wooden ice fruit could heal injuries and strengthen one's physique, but the fact that it could increase one's soul power was a secret that not many people knew. However, just because Tang Ao had eaten a wooden ice fruit, he could tell so much. It was quite impressive. I didn't expect your senses to be so sharp. Are you really a rank 3 alchemist? Bai Suru said half-jokingly. Are you really willing to marry me if I am a rank 3 alchemist? Tang Ao smiled casually. Bai Suru glanced at Tang Ao. If you really are a rank 3 alchemist, of course I can consider it. After all, in the Winter Plain, high-level alchemists are very precious. Then, Bai Suru's eyes flashed with a hint of slyness. If you are a rank 4 alchemist, I can even be your concubine. Chapter 879. What Tang Ao did not know was that a 4th-grade pill master could no longer be described as merely a 4th-grade pill master. It was only because he was a 6th-grade pill master that Tang Ao felt that a 4th-grade pill master was so cheap. In fact, even in the Black-Yellow continent, a 4th-grade pill master was a hot commodity. In the 7 Kills sect that Tang Ao was in, there were only 2 4th-grade pill masters, the Great Elder and the 7th Elder. As for a 5th-grade pill master, there was only one, and that was the Supreme Elder, Fengya. However, the 7 Kills sect was already one of the top sects in the vast Black-Yellow continent. Some of the weaker sects did not even have a 4th-grade pill master, let alone a 5th-grade pill master. If Tang Ao had not coincidentally obtained the legacy of the Shenong Emperor in the Underworld Emperor's secret realm, he would not have been able to become a 6th-grade pill master. In the entire Black-Yellow continent, there were only a few 5th-grade pill masters. As for a 6th-grade pill master, apart from Tang Ao, it would be hard to find a second one. What does the conference have to do with the wooden ice fruit? Tang Ao was still very interested in the wooden ice fruit. The effects of this spiritual fruit were very useful to Tang Ao. There are 5 forbidden areas in the Winter Plains. Have you heard of them? Bai Suru did not answer Tang Ao's question, but asked a question instead. Tang Ao had heard of the 5 forbidden areas in the Winter Plains, but Tang Ao did not know which ones they were. I only know of the gloomy poison swamp and the depths of the snow mountains. I don't know anything else. Other than the gloomy poison swamp and the depths of the snow mountains, the other 3 forbidden areas are the passage to the demonic region, the Black Wind Valley, and the Earth Bodhisattva Cemetery. The Pill Concoction Valleys Conference is related to the Earth Bodhisattva Cemetery. There is a type of fruit tree in the Earth Bodhisattva Cemetery called the Spiritual Ice Fruit. It is said that all the wooden ice fruit trees in the Winter Plains are grown from the seeds of the spiritual ice fruit. The wooden ice fruit trees were grown from the seeds of the spiritual ice fruit? Tang Ao's heart was filled with disbelief. Why did the seeds of the spirit ice fruit tree not produce a spirit ice fruit tree, but a wood ice fruit tree? Also, what's the difference between the wood ice fruit and the spirit ice fruit? Tang Ao asked. That's right. The wood ice fruit tree should have been grown from the spiritual ice fruit. Although I haven't seen it with my own eyes, my grandfather once entered the Xitigarbha cemetery and obtained the spiritual ice fruit there. The few wood ice fruit trees in the Frost tribe were grown from the seeds of the spiritual ice fruit. As for the difference between the wood ice fruit and the spirit ice fruit, It can be said that the effect of the spirit ice fruit is 10 times or even dozens of times that of the wood ice fruit. After hearing Bai Suru's explanation, Tang Ao was shocked. The heavenly materials and earthly treasures of this world were truly miraculous. Tang Ao was already very surprised by the wood ice fruit. He hadn't expected that there would be a spirit ice fruit that was even more heaven-defying than the wood ice fruit. No matter what, Tang Ao had to think of a way to go to the Ksitigarbha cemetery. If the Ksitigarbha cemetery has something as good as the spiritual ice fruit, why is it still called a forbidden area? Moreover, Tang Ao was a little confused. If the Ksitigarbha cemetery was discovered during Bai Suru's grandfather's generation, then after so many years, there was probably nothing left in the cemetery. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.